Hello, Weirdos of the West. We've played a lot of games over the last year, 18 months or so. So today we are going through, we are talking about them, we're reviewing them, we are re-ranking them. This is our Nerds of the West ranking list. This is all about games, not necessarily from 1 to 10. We are talking about the games that we would prefer to play if given the opportunity. So everyone has ranked all of the games on that criteria. Gives everyone a bit more freedom to think about what they want in a video game, in a board game. God, words. I'm going to stop talking now. We have a Kai.
Yo.
We have a Sean.
Hey.
We have a Lachlan.
Merry Chrysler.
We have Beck.
Merry Christmas.
We have Jimmy.
Merry Christmas.
And Reese.
Hello!
My name is Tom, and we're going to start things off on the bottom of the list. The lowest ranked game that we have here today.
Oh!
Wait, do we want to take guesses?
I was about to ask, does anyone want to give guesses?
I think we all know what it's going to be.
I
I've got a safe guess.
I reckon it's June Imperium, all expansions.
I reckon
We were wrong.
I hope something else knocked it. Like, it's not the last one.
I think it's
You
Reload.
keep saying it.
I'm
You
just going to say, it's Reload. I reckon it's Reload.
Reload?
Yeah, it's real.
I reckon it's Reload.
So in 43rd place, Zombie Kittens.
Oh!
Wow. Like I
Okay.
told you, I was like, it's going to be bumped up because Chris, Billy, and I think a few others didn't rate it as low as everyone had.
Yeah, I will say...
It's mostly because Billy actually likes that game.
Yeah, and I think
Billy had it in his top 10.
All right.
Oh, he had Reload. How many games did Billy play?
Don't worry about that.
I think the more important thing
Six.
here is that Zombie Kittens is actually the lowest ranked game.
Yes.
I think it's just because we don't want to play like Exploding Kittens or
Again?
Zombie Kittens or anything
Well,
anymore.
Yeah, it's important to remember that these are what we would play over other games in this list, right? And it's not saying it's a bad game, it's just there are other games you want to play.
I would give Zombie Kittens a solid
over it.
5 out of 10.
Yeah. But
Like, it's not a 2 out of 10. It's not hard to play. It's just not...
Once you've played
fun.
it as much as we have, you get to a point where you're like, I don't need to play this
Is
again.
it more or less the same as regular Exploding Kittens?
It just adds a
That's a
revised
respawn
mechanic.
mechanic.
Lower than Atmosphere. We didn't rank Atmosphere.
We didn't rank Atmosphere on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Atmosphere would be up the top. It's fine.
Goosebumps beats
We
atmosphere.
played Nightmare, not Atmosphere this year.
Also true.
We played Nightmare. That wasn't on the list. We also didn't put Ghost Castle on
We
the list.
specifically didn't put Ghost Castle on the list.
That probably would have been too mean.
But hey, that's fine. Zombie Kittens goes to the bottom. Above it,
Reload.
Reload.
I'm still impressed that it wasn't like the bottom one.
It had something going for it. That's the thing. It was just it had too many things going for it, and they all got lost in their own.
Yeah.
The concept makes sense, especially in the modern day. Like a battle royale game makes perfect sense.
And the combat didn't feel bad. It was a little clunky, but it felt like, hey, you did things.
Dude,
It's just that combat was the only thing worth doing.
the
And
trackers
so-
were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, combat was the only thing worth anything on that tracker.
yeah, it just feels to me that the game was not playtested enough. The balance was not worked out.
Yeah.
They went, here's the concept, here's some other stuff to make it a game and not one note.
Mhm.
Done, instead of making those things.
And then there was like 2 heavy
Work
weapons in
together.
it for reasons.
Yeah. It
It
just,
had ideas. It just wasn't fully executed.
Yep.
What's next?
The next one's a little bit more difficult, I think, because we definitely struggled to get through to the end of this game, and not because it was bad, but just because it was difficult. So some people might be looking for that, but for us, it didn't quite hit the mark.
Huh.
Mists over Carcassonne.
Interesting.
Cooperative edition of Carcassonne. The mechanics were good, and this is where I think solidly we can start saying, hey, from here up, these are games that could be good and good for fun for people. They just didn't quite hit for us.
Just Yoshi asked the question. This list is all of the games we've played in the last 18 months.
And they might have been from 1979 or 2021 or 2023.
Or from the future, because
So-
we play games that haven't been released yet.
That's true.
Exactly that.
That's very true.
they're not all 2023 games, they're just games we played in 2023.
Well, and 2022 was the
Yeah.
Anyway, anyone have anything to say about Mists over Carcassonne? Because I think it's a decent game. I just wouldn't play it all that often because I don't love Carcassonne.
It had
So-
some cool change. It just wasn't as good as normal Carcassonne.
Best guest appearance.
Hello, Millie.
That was the one where Millie made an appearance and put her spit all over Chris's arm.
That's fair.
No, you want
Chris
Also,
is not. a
hello,
good person.
Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Millie.
Sorry you
Unfortunately-
can't be here.
Yeah, but look, we have no more room for you, so don't worry about it. It's not that we don't want you here, we just ran out of room. No.
We can't fit the 12 nerds that are part of Nerds of the West around the table anymore.
We need a bigger studio. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, well then you guys can buy the next house.
Yeah, sure. When you buy it.
So in 40th, so this is the bottom 4 game. We'll skip through the bottom 5 really quickly. Tiny Epic Vikings.
Interesting. I know I didn't rate this one very high on my list because of these 4 games. This was the only one that I know I played Zombie Kittens too, but Tiny Epic Vikings I did rate quite low. And I just did my list based on would I play this over this? No, it goes down.
Tiny Epic Vikings just had, once again, too much going on, and none of it felt cohesive to play. Like, you had all these different elements, and there was resources and combat and different ways that you could fight in, and different ways you could explore the map, but it just never felt cohesive. It never felt easy to play, and it just took a little bit too long. It's, once again, I like the idea of the Tiny Epic games, but I think they're starting to run out of steam.
It was
Yeah.
At
it
some
was-
point, the game needs to be a bigger game to make sense.
Yeah, that was my
very
problem.
50-50 hit and miss with the last few releases that they've done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
yes.
Number 5.
Bottom 5, 39, Hand-to-Hand Wombat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Opinions, Kai?
I mean, it's a dexterity game, kind of. It's just like a chaos generator, which is fine. It's fun in like a party scenario, I guess. Like, oh no, someone knocked over the tower. But there's no.
Is it like the first game you play at a games night? You'd be like,
Yeah.
"It's feeling a
It's a
little
great,
bit uneasy."
it's a great
Yeah.
kids game.
It's like an
yeah.
icebreaker. It's like a really light thing, but it's just not. There's not enough game there. It's
Yeah.
like
For
it's-
me, because I ranked this pretty low. I was like, the replayability is not there.
Yeah.
Like, I busted out once as a gimmick,
Yeah.
and then never again.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, we had a lot of fun playing it on stream,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I was just like, I'd never really have a reason to pull this off
Yeah,
the shelf
for
again.
sure. I've brought it out when we've had like family over that are not into games.
Yeah.
And it's fun to play 2 or 3 times, and then it's like, okay.
Let's
put this away now.
It's,
I think like the other reason why I rated this one fairly low as well, I think, is because it's one of those ones where it's also like a hidden agenda game. And it's a hidden agenda with just that extra layer of chaos. And it's also so frustrating when it's like, you know you're doing the right thing, but everybody's just like, nah, you fucking did it. So you get to go sit out and you get to watch everyone else play because you fucking did it.
That's what happened to Tom.
No, that's what happened to Beck.
That's
Beck
what happened to me.
Beck got voted out, and then she didn't play the game.
There's a whole TikTok about it because I'm
it's-
just sitting there watching Reese fuck you guys up. And I'm
It's
just like,
player elimination in a game that needs player elimination, but is not fun because of it.
Yeah.
Dude, it made some good TikToks there.
Alright,
Yeah.
quality content. If you're buying games for content, hand wombat. Like,
yeah, it's fun to watch from a third person perspective.
The next game was difficult to rank because only 3 of us played it, and I will have to apologize. I taught one of the people how to play it wrong, and so I feel they had a bad experience with it. So I'm sorry, Sean. I am keen to see what you think of this game in the future, because Chris and I loved it. 10 Wickets was a Kickstarter game that we played earlier in the year. I really, really like this game. It is a bidding game for 2 people, which shouldn't work, because you should just outbid each other at every point. Except you only have a limited amount of cards in your hand, and you can swap your bids. So it's all about thinking, all right, do I have the cards I need right now to be able to play 3 steps ahead, to then be able to move things in the way I need to get the cricketers that I need. I also think the cricket thing means it's going to sell really well, or sell well but not really well. If they re-release it with another theme with these mechanics, it could be a really popular game, because it's a nice, quick 2-player game with a mechanic that doesn't get played in a 2-player game much.
Yeah, if I can jump in there, I put this quite low, and it wasn't because I didn't know how to play it right. I actually didn't know how to play it right. It was more just, the theming. I'm not a cricket fan, so that didn't really get me excited. And I'm not really a big bidding game person either, so that's the reason why it slid down my list. So that's why I prefer to play other games than it.
Which is interesting because that's what factors into a lot of games where we've found in the past where certain types of games do better than other side of games, and certain people will vote like cooperative games lower, or some people really like competitive games. So that's why it's always impossible to rank games against each other. So it's like, what would you rather play?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You learn our thoughts, learn our feelings.
I do appreciate that Chris is still offering his opinion
Yeah.
on this. And that
10 Wickets was quite good.
was quite good.
Also, Spammer said we should do Murder Mystery stream in 2024.
After the poker stream and the pool stream and everything
Anyway.
else we
Anything
need
else
to
you
do.
can do? Yeah.
Above 10 Wickets, a game that was a little bit controversial, but at least one person... No, that's the next one up. This one, Steam Up.
Oh, yeah.
Steam Up had a lot of hype coming into 2023.
I was sold by the marketing. So we got the deluxe edition. I got the deluxe edition through Kickstarter. And the game looked cool, looked interesting. The reason I went with the deluxe edition was because that came with all the actual like 3D minis and stuff, and all the
bits of
components,
some-
which they are rad.
So cool.
I love those. But the game itself just ended up being, like, it would have been cool if I was at the start of playing board games, but like at this point, I feel like there's way
It also-
more interesting board games.
It also slows down towards the end. Instead of
Yeah.
being a game where you get closer to the end and it starts ramping and getting
And
harder
you get to do
faster,
more and more.
it slows down towards the end because the turntable only has like 3 options and you got to turn it twice before you can get it. So you're just kind of like moving it away from each other, and everyone's moving it away from each
And
other.
there's supposed to be variability in like the starting, the round cards and the power cards that you get. But once again, if variability doesn't solve the problems of the game, it detracts even further from them by being like, I've got this and I can't do anything
Oh yeah,
right
no,
now.
they're filled with cheese.
Yeah,
Cream cheese.
I enjoyed playing Steam Up. It's not something I would come back to a lot, I don't think. I think that the premium components did a lot of heavy lifting
Yeah.
for that game, and the Lazy Susan, like tactile kind of thing, did a lot of heavy lifting. So I enjoyed the game we played, but it's not something I would come back to on a regular basis.
Or show it to people and be like, you want to play a board game, you don't know a lot of things about board games.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Cult Express, where it's like, here is this really interesting thing, and it's colourful and playful, to get people into the hobby.
What we got next, Tom?
But yeah, that was Steam Up.
Up next, we have a game that's in one person's top 5 and one person's bottom 5.
Oh, interesting.
Any guesses? It was played by 4 people.
Tell us what the game is, and we'll guess who's top.
No,
five is what
sorry,
the-
any guesses on the game?
No, I
What-
know
what-
that-
what kind of game is it?
That's fine, I was just trying to
What
say.
sort of game is
It was
it?
only played by 4
I'm
people.
not going to say.
King Domino.
No.
All right.
Viticulture Essential Edition.
I think that was in my bottom 5. Possibly. I know I ranked mine low.
Which
It
is
was low for me.
incredible, considering that it's a cult classic.
You didn't feel the need to push it even lower, though.
I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
If
Right.
it's in the last 5 that I voted for, it's in my bottom 5.
It's a classic. It does cool things. It's a really nice intro worker placement game, but it struggles at so many points to actually reward you for doing things.
It has not aged well.
Sorry,
That's ultimately, it's not aged well.
100%.
It was cool in 2015. Playing it in 2023.
Yeah.
If that was if that's one of your favorite games, pick up that version. It's great.
Yeah.
As someone who was introduced to viticulture, like so many other games have done what that had done, way better.
So,
Yeah, but
just to ask the question, sorry, was the Essential Edition a big departure from the original game, though? Like,
No,
if you
it's
played
a
the
few bits of expansions to make the game closer to the perfect version.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem that I had with it was that it's too for what seems to present itself as a Euro strategy game. Everything is chance. It's just luck, because you can only produce certain types of wine, which are how you score with certain grapes, but the wine you can produce and the grapes that you grow are randomized from drawing cards.
Yeah.
So if I get a thing that says, yeah, I can make red wine if I have red grapes, but draw white grapes, I can't do anything. And that was that whole game for me.
And even then,
I just kept getting
people
stymied
might not
by
be
luck.
buying the kind of wine that you have.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just, it was, and yeah, I had a bad game of it, but a Euro game should not be that dependent on luck.
Yeah.
Like, there should not be that much coming out of decks for a strategy game. It just...
Should always be another way out of that.
Stepping
Yeah.
stones.
There was I had no option to score. There wasn't even a path for me to do it. So I feel like that definitely brought it down.
What were you going to say, Lachlan?
I was just gonna say stepping stones. There's so many games that we've played that are a little bit older. I think 2015 is that spot where a lot of us got into board games quite heavily, and you can see the progression of board games.
Yeah.
It's come
Yeah.
a long way, taking mechanics and improving on them.
Beck, stop trying to figure out what the presents are.
Speaking of taking mechanics,
Clearly, it's a roast chicken.
It's actually a roast turkey, but
speaking of taking mechanics and showing them off in new ways, this next game I'm surprised to see down this low. I think it needs to get played more often at the table because it's a game that can play at a variety of different player counts and has a really interesting way of telegraphing mechanics and moves, and then everyone has to figure out a puzzle from that. Curses and Covens. A game that was on Kickstarter, is hopefully getting a retail release in the future. I highly recommend you check out this game. From here on up, this is good games territory.
Well, I liked Curses and Covens.
Yeah, I had a great time. Like we had.
That's actually very curious. I'm surprised that it's ranked that low. It must be Tom that's rated it really low because he lost.
Yeah.
is that the one where you kept putting all the
It's-
witches on one
Yeah,
side?
that's-
Yeah.
It was an asymmetrical game where we were all versing Tom.
Yeah. Go to our TikTok. One of the highest viewed videos on that TikTok is Brie explaining to chat that we figured out Tom's meta.
It's great. It's fun. It's a 1v many hidden card game. And basically at 2 different points in the game, you get shown, here's the new information, here's where information is moving, and then you get to decide on that, what you do with that information, and how you as a team try and fool the one to stop them from doing the thing they want to do, which is find witches. Cool. It's got cool powers, it's got cool additions. I think it's a solid game. It just, slipped down the list.
I think it was unique, and I think that's also surprisingly one of its flaws in that it was an asymmetrical game that you really would bring out at a specific time with specific people, so it was hard to introduce to people.
But it does a really good job of introducing its mechanics to people by having that open information, which is why we put it as one of our nominations for best new intro game, best new gateway game.
I think my only issue with it is I'm sitting here remembering bits of it, but I actually don't remember how it played. So that might be why it didn't end up very high on my list, because I may have just gone,
get the cards, trade the cards.
I can't remember what I had to do in it, so I probably wouldn't play it if I need to entirely relearn it.
It was in your top 10.
Yeah, alright. I didn't have a lot though. I think I maybe had 25 or 26 games I played.
Just above that, very, very close in our averaging of scores, Nemesis Lockdown.
Yeah, that seems right.
That is surprisingly higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
People enjoy Nemesis. If it hits for people, it really hits for people.
Look, my thing was I didn't hate the game, but the setup and pack down is almost as long as the game itself. And then there is so many rules in there. It is you have to dedicate an entire night to play that game, right? And then the payoff is not as satisfactory as what playing other games is. So it's not that I hated it. It's just that but I'm actually surprised it's up this high. I think
it looks good. It's got a cool theme.
Yeah.
It hits a lot of boxes for a lot of people. If you're playing it for a role playing experience of being we're running around on a ship and it's an alien-esque sort of thing. There's a lot of cool things. We really enjoyed Doom in previous years as the same sort of you're an adventurer, do what you want, and then here's a bunch of rules. But we could just play a tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
Right?
Or we could just play Doom. Doom takes less time to set up.
I think that's where they fit in the market. Is it board games for people who are used to those kind of rules-heavy games?
Yeah.
Hey, here's some pieces you can interact with. Hey, here's some cool things that can happen.
Super thematic.
Yeah.
Super thematic.
I remember it had some good ideas in it, like the whole sound thing. I remember you getting like, no, stop making more noise. It's like, no, we just need to move.
Yeah.
I do remember having a good time playing Reese trying to do the betray at the end. But yeah, like, the setup and the amount.
Very akin to Zombicide, which
Yeah.
is very common.
That's where it's like, I think the game's good, but there's still a lot of things that like bring it down.
I think I think we've hit the nail on the head. It's if you want to play a tabletop game, like an RPG, but you want it to be a little bit more tactile, and you do Nemesis and you go into it sort of going, okay, it's going to be very thematic. We're going to play it like an RPG. It really hits hard. But if you purely go into it going, oh, this is a board game, it's a very long, very sort of like tedious board
it's
game.
not very mechanics heavy. Like the mechanics aren't all integrated. They're not giving you choices that interact on the things. It's just you do this happens.
Yeah.
If you want to avoid the setup, play it online.
Yeah. Also true.
I mean,
It's
that's why
another-
Space Space is one of my favorite games, but I'll only play it online.
We will come back to that one later. Just above Nemesis, we have a local game, a Perth WA made game, 60-Second Cocktail. Is a very cool little. I don't even know what to describe it as. It's bluffing game.
It's a bluffing game.
Yeah.
Push your luck.
Push your luck to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Push your luck, but you're pushing your luck against other people who are knowing that what you've got going on.
Yeah.
Hey, Jules!
Hey, Jules.
How you
Hello.
doing?
He's only just followed us. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 60-Second Cocktail. If you like Skull, it is worth checking out. It's a variation on
Yeah.
Skull with some good additions that I like. There are times I would play Skull. I would play it over Skull.
Yeah, I played over Skull just because it's Skull with just that little bit extra going on. So,
And you should definitely go back and check out our stream for it, because that was one of our best streams this
Yeah.
year.
I was literally just about to be like, check out that stream. Like, even though I didn't play the game. I'm still on that stream, and that was a
Reese's
fun stream.
Cocktail Club.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, it
very
was
good.
such a fun game. I mean, buddied with that, but in comparison to Skull, it's a better version of Skull.
Yeah.
I think probably one of the weakest aspects of the game is the art.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, it's not a super complicated game, so does it really matter if the art's not?
Yeah, and it becomes an interesting choice for developers. It's like, if you know you're just making this for a local market, making this on a budget, do you pay someone to make really good art, or do you just do it yourself like they did, so that you can make a game and get it out there?
The version that we played was that final version as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't terrible art.
No.
I mean, it's
that's
just,
functional.
Probably just stop there.
The next game I will say is probably the most misunderstood game we have at this list, because it is a game that takes multiple hours to play, is incredibly complex, and has so much strategy involved in it that you need lots of playthroughs to actually understand.
Just to translate, one of Tom's favorite games that everyone else hated.
Oh, hang on a second. I think I know what it is.
Multiple hours.
Planet Unknown.
It's clearly Ghost Castle.
I think it's Imperium.
It is Imperium Classics.
Ah.
There you go.
Hey Sean, you want to talk about this game now that I've said a bunch of words about it?
Yeah.
It's just
This game stinks.
Look, I get where it is in the list so far. It is quite heavy. There's a lot going on with this game. There's a lot of keywords. But if you are after a heavier card game, I think it really hits home.
It can be played at like multiple players, 4 players,
Yeah.
but it's best at 2 players, which
Yeah.
is why it's nominated for our best 2-player game of the year.
Yeah, it has a really good solo mode too. The only thing I would like to see an app with it, because there is a lot of, again, keywords, and you got to keep flicking to a page in the rulebook to know what's going on. So if they create like a really cool app and utilize that, I think it'll make that experience a lot better for solo, or even 2-player as well, or any player count. But yeah, I like it.
It's a game that pulled off what I didn't think could be done with just cards. Like, it is your choices, your strategy, everything is open and available to you. and you have so many choices round to round that everything you do has an impact, and so you need to understand that from the start to decide where you're going towards the end, which you don't see in a card game very often.
Oh, for sure.
Do we have Imperium Classics here?
No, Sean's probably taken it back.
Yeah.
On his shelf.
But it's awesome. It's great. I don't have 3 hours a week to dedicate just to learning that game.
I mean, and also just to quickly talk about the theme, you can play, I think, each, because there's 2 versions, there's Imperium Classics and Imperium Legends, and in each box there's about 6 different civilizations you can play as, like the Romans, the Persians, stuff like that, and each of them feel different, and they kind of feel a bit authentic as well. Like they've really done a good job of putting history as much as they can into the game. So if you're a civilization type of person, like Age of Empires and that sort of stuff, I reckon you'll dig it.
It doesn't sell it to me.
It's awesome.
Sounds
I
interesting.
missed the stream. I know nothing about the game.
I know nothing.
Like, yeah.
I'd like to play with you guys.
Yeah.
I'd be
I'm keen to
interested.
play.
Yeah.
I also want to take a moment, everyone that has subscribed and followed so far. Thank you so much. Welcome on in.
We're talking board games. Let's go.
Hope you're doing well.
So just above Imperium Classics, a game that is definitely not as heavy, and to me could have been heavier, but was still a lot of fun to play. Oh?
Do you want to?
No. I thought you were going to say take a guess at what game it was based on my very quick introduction of it.
I wasn't listening. I was focusing on cookies.
Will you agree with my introduction, Lachlan and Sean? Apiary.
Run me through it again.
Could have
No
been
one was
heavier,
listening.
could have been more interesting, still fun to play, but not a lot of depth.
Yes. I think that it was a good game, but there are a lot of games that I played that are better. Would I pull it out over other games? Probably not. I feel like also the choices were quite limited. Even though we played like a handful of times, I still feel like even with the tile rotation, there is a lot of worker placement areas that were interesting, but I think it wasn't fully fleshed out. They had one good mechanic, which was the bees that rotate, and the art style was a miss for me. Like having
See, I like the
bees,
art.
Space Bees was just weird, and I just didn't vibe with it. Like if it was just bees, cool. If it was just space, cool. But it was Space Bees, and it just didn't gel for me.
Yeah, they went, we want to make a game about hexagons that you can interlock the hexagons and put things in different ways and have all these choices, but your choices were the same every single round.
That's a shame because hexagons are besticons.
See, I like the theme because it's something different. Like we've got so many space games, and I'm sure there's lots of B games or you know, like
No, you name me one other bee game that is just
not so much
bees.
bee games,
just
but
bees?
you've got-
I was gonna
Just
But you've
bees.
got Mariposas, which is about
There's a bee.
butterflies. You've got, Wingspan, which is about birds. So they've sort of gone, well, okay, we can take bees and let's put them in space and do something funky with it. So that's why I like it. It's something different.
Do you think maybe they made Apiary because they started just trying to make a game about bees and they went, oh, there's not enough here.
Well,
That's pretty much what they
pretty
said.
much
They went,
that.
we want to give them technology, and that makes no sense if they're just bees.
Yeah.
But
Like a
So
third
let's
upgrade
dance.
track.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's okay. The best way to describe it to people is it is a solid Stone Meyer game.
Yeah.
And if you have ever played a Stone Meyer game, it fits that perfectly.
I would definitely play it over Viticulture Essential Edition, which is why I ranked it above Viticulture Essential Edition.
for me, it sits firmly in there. If you've got a board game group that is just like they're in board games, they've played some of the more basic ones, the gateway games, and then you want to give them one more step up to try and get them into Euros, that is a good stepping stone. There are much better games in Euro in the same sort of style. that
It's a
you can
good
go,
game.
but it is a step. So take that for what it is.
Only 3 different nature bee games came out this year. There we go.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
So Space Bees.
Bees.
Look, it's a good game. It is a good game.
It's also one of those games that you're like, it makes you feel a little bit better about all the bees dying now because you're like, one day they'll outlast humanity.
That's the story. That they outlasted humanity and they went to space.
We're taking them down with us.
Gosh darn.
I think now's a good time to do our first of our awards. This year at Nerds of the West, we have decided to present some awards and games that we've got. Hey, this is really good at this one specific thing. So best 2-player, best co-op, best gateway game, best art, and best components. Let's start with best components. The nominees are Steam Up, Hand to Hand Wombat, and Witcher: The Old World. So if you want to pass that over to someone, Lachlan.
I'll do it.
Best
And
components.
The winner is Steam Up.
It was beautiful, it was gorgeous, it was fun to touch and play with. Steam Up, they did a lot of good work on that deluxe edition.
Yeah, I think that needs an asterisk because that is the deluxe edition,
Yes.
which you cannot buy.
You can.
But,
It was Kickstarter only.
We thought we found it for sale somewhere.
yeah, I think
Was
you
it
can't buy
someone
the
selling their
deluxe edition.
Kickstarter
But
version?
in saying that though, a lot of the other games that it would have been competing with were also Kickstarter deluxe editions.
We fully understood
So-
that going in, that it is still worth saying that, hey, these are the premium, the best components.
And arguably, that is the best takeaway out of that game.
Yeah,
Yes, comparable to, like, say, The Witcher Old World, which is just a lot of minis, but it doesn't distinguish it from any other mini-heavy game. Whereas Steam Up,
I still disagree
Was
with you
really
on that
interesting.
point, but we'll come to that when we
but
discuss The Witcher.
You got outvoted. So
Not on what is better, just on The Witcher Old World is just a bunch of minis. There is other cool components in that game. Next
yeah.
up, another worker placement game, this time with an expansion. When we first played this game, it was quite highly rated. The expansion
what it is.
didn't quite hit.
I know what it is. It is Lost Ruins of Arnak Expedition Leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think, Beck? You love Arnak.
I love Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Sean's so disappointed it wasn't Iki.
I thought I had that guessed. I was wrong.
Sorry, Beck.
I think my issue is Lost Ruins of Arnak on its own is a very in-depth and complex game. And I don't know if by adding expedition leaders, it enhanced the game in such a way that made it better.
An expansion that just added more of the same rather than
Yeah.
a twist on the gameplay,
And granted, like
which is sometimes what you need.
I
but-
did appreciate that it gave it a bit more theme. So it's instead of you just being like, you know, Expedition Green, Expedition Leader Green or whatever, you became like a person and you had different abilities and different things to do. But I struggle with Lost Ruins of Arnak as it stands. Adding in an extra component and like an extra layer of things to do, it's like I don't like games that are too difficult, and I think it just made it a bit too difficult for me. And that's what just took it down from being like one of my favorite games to being like I probably wouldn't play the expansion.
was your favourite Schmindy and Schmones game this year?
No, there was a different Schmitty and Schmones game that I really liked this year.
I don't know
Ooh.
what that is.
Yeah, I think everybody knows what that is.
Well, next up, above Lost Ruins of Arnak, we have The Witcher Old World. This is another game that once again had a deluxe edition, and this is why it ranked a little bit lower for me. The things I loved about this game were only in the Kickstarter expansions. The base game itself is dudes on a map walking around doing things. The minis were cool. The boards that you had and the way that you got upgrades were cool. All the story elements were really cool. One of the best written games. I found that a lot of these kind of games that have story elements aren't actually that well written. This one was. The stories felt thematic. The stories felt satisfying. Whatever choices you made actually had an impact. Sometimes they left an impact on the world. But the parts that made the game the best, hunting down monsters, really targeting the way you fight monsters, really making it feel like The Witcher, were Kickstarter expansions.
Question.
Yeah.
You're talking about really liking the story. Was it a pre-written story by the person who wrote The Witcher?
No, but pre-written, it is CD Projekt Red, and pre-written cards that are similar to the Fallout game that I think you played with us, where you go to a place that says find this card, that card leads you to more cards, almost like choose your own adventure, but it starts as a randomized deck and you don't know what story line you're going to follow.
When that's working in the Fallout game, it is pretty good, but the actual game kind of falls down a little bit. When something breaks, then the whole game breaks, like Fallout 76.
This felt like a much better Fallout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where Fallout failed to be competitive because you could just snipe stuff away from people. The Witcher, it felt okay to snipe stuff away from people because there was always other things to do. And also you could just go and kill that person.
Yeah. I gamble with them.
Can I interest you in a game of Gwent?
It looks good.
Clear the table, bust out quick.
It looked good, and it was one of the games where we could only have 3 people at the table because it was so big.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it was someone had to pull out, and then they were like, "We're just gonna play it at 3 anyway."
I feel like that happened with a few games this year where like the games are starting to get so big.
Table size matters.
Like
Like
April was way too big for the type
Yep.
of game it was.
Yeah.
Like, we played with 3 people, we're like, why is this game so big? Why is this big?
Yeah.
Having seen the stream, because I remember messaging that week being like, hey, is stream good this week still? That, oh, we forgot to tell you we're doing 3. I was like, okay, cool, no worries.
Actually,
Yeah.
stay home.
Stay home. So I stayed home, watched it. I was like, hey, good call.
It's just before we move on to the other one, it's something I've been noticing because with a lot of the Kickstarters that I have not brought in to the studio because we haven't scheduled to play any games that I buy, like Darwin's Journey is still over there, but like Darwin's Journey we could probably only have 3 at the table. Half the games that I have at home that we will never play because we won't schedule them, we could only play with 3 at this table. Like the games themselves are getting
Dude,
bigger, and
no,
we're gonna-
our table is shrinking. After we washed it, we put it on the line, and then
Oh,
we're
was
gonna-
I not supposed to run it through the dryer?
yeah. We're running through the dryers
But,
and gonna be
you know,
changed.
on that point, it's like, it was like, you got a small table. It's like, we have played hundreds of games at this table with 4 people comfortably.
We've done
They're
Nemesis
comfortably
4-player
sitting-
at this
they're
table.
comfortably sitting 7 people at this table, and we're only a little bit squishy.
Yeah, and so when it's like games are getting bigger, it's like, yeah, you know, we do have a bigger table in the other room, or other people have like big dining table. But even those, when you're playing them, you're like, what is that?
Get up and click it.
what is that over there? I can't see. Can you pass that to me?
It's your Twilight Imperium. You need 2 tables set, like
Yeah, exactly.
2 totally separate tables set up.
dude. Also, we are playing Twilight Imperium next year.
Oh man,
Oh, Twilight Imperium might have to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I want
On
to
the
see us
floor,
try and
let's
fit
get
it on the floor.
Get the
I take
table
that
outta
as a
here.
challenge. I
On
take
the
it as a
floor.
challenge. On
Just-
the floor.
On the floor.
No, that's a standing
Honestly-
game. That is. There's going to be a lot of dad poses and.
We're all going to be mic'd up
You
individually.
know what I'm
yeah.
waiting for is when we have that one push and we're like, all right, we're this close to having Nerds of the West go full time. How do we sell ourselves? How do we get our name out there? 3-month-long stream campaign for North Africa. Let's go.
Ah.
A game takes 10 people to play. I legitimately want to do it just to see if it can be done.
we were in Game Tour the other day and Jimmy was like, oh, Axis and Allies? And I'm like, I've got a copy of Axis and Allies. We'll never finish the game. Like, it just takes too long.
You almost need a just dedicated room so you don't have to pack it up.
Almost like Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
So the next game on the list is one that once again has a little bit of an asterisk because once again, due to table space, studio space, size space, we could not play this at what I think will be its best player count. We only played it at I think 4 and 5 players, and this game goes up to 9.
Bless you.
And at 9, you
Bless you.
suddenly have a whole lot more options, but also less options, and your decisions become far more intense. Hollywood 1947, the newest in the Dark Cities game. If you're familiar with Tortuga, Bristol, the games that come in a book, this is the newest offering from them. I think this game is great. We haven't seen it at its best. That's why it's this low.
How good Tortuga?
Yeah.
That's a classic.
I would.
Not on the
here's the
list.
thing.
Stay on topic.
I'd play Tortuga at like 4 to 7 players, but then I'd play Bristol at 9 players. I think, just in personal experience, Hollywood will shine at 9 players because part of the game is you are changing your roles within the movie production company.
All right, let's crack
So-
that now. We'll test it.
At 9, that means only like 2 of the roles have the ability to change roles. And so those people are then like, all right, I need my team to be these roles. It becomes a very different game. I want to play it. We haven't got it there yet. Nominated for Best Art.
yeah, I haven't played it, but it does look very pretty.
Yeah.
I did play it. I don't remember it. I had to ask Tom. I was like, "Is it 1947 I played, or there's another one, Roll Camera?" And I was like, I couldn't remember which one I played.
That's because they're both Hollywood things.
All I remember is that one we played at the last studio.
Yes. Yeah.
So after we moved out of the other one.
In the temporary studio.
Yeah, the
space.
temp space.
At Nerds of the West, 4th edition. That's-
But yeah.
All right, Tom, what's next?
Next up is a game that I was really disappointed in. I
Okay.
wanted it to be better.
Oh,
Okay.
And it was just
Ooh.
okay.
well, you got
Which was
outvoted.
surprising because it was nominated for Spiel des Jahres.
Wait,
Ah,
I think it's Iki.
It's Iki.
yeah. I'm surprised it's actually this high. It was okay.
So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These numbers aren't adding up.
Math ain't mathing.
Yeah.
Dude,
Sean had it in his top 10.
Gugong's still out there.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see the potential. I think I think the expansion helps it. From what I've heard, I didn't play with the expansion,
Yeah.
but I was intrigued. I think I kept it that high because I was like, I want to give it another shot. I want to try with this expansion and
Yeah.
just see.
Wait,
Yeah.
he wants to pull it out again and play it over some
Yeah.
other games.
For
Yeah,
me,
that
it
makes
was just this weird clash where the mechanics and the theme didn't work together properly, and it's easy to overlook theme when you're talking about mechanics because usually it doesn't matter. But there was just something about the way Iki worked with like the fire mechanic impacting turn order, and it didn't make sense.
It felt like a game that
Sometimes-
presented a whole lot of
and-
different options and mechanics, but then actually didn't tie them together or didn't actually reward you for doing different things.
Yeah, it was like there was two separate. I don't know. It just never really came together for me. At no point was I like, "Cool, this is all
I mean,
coming together. It's all working." It just
I've
never-
played it 3 times. I'm interested to play it another. I feel like it could be good, and it just never hit.
So theme is good, mechanics are good.
It's a beautiful
they
game.
Don't work together, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my feedback on Iki was similar to Viticulture because like it was essentially a reprint of the 2015 game that we played, right? And I think once again, if we played it back in 2015, that would have been like, oh, this is amazing, game of the year, da 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 da. I think the problem is that was like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're now like board games have improved on a lot of that formula. I think Iki is better than Viticulture
Yes.
in what it's trying to do and trying to convey, but I still once again feel it's very dated in its mechanics and its presentation. So
Yeah.
Good comments. Good feedback.
The next game is an interesting one because it's technically an expansion, but also it's a 2-player standalone game.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wingspan Asia Duet. If you like Wingspan, it adds more things to Wingspan. Great. If you're looking for 2-player Wingspan, it's a solid 2-player Wingspan. Great.
Honestly,
If you like Wingspan, check it out. I don't personally love Wingspan. I've come around on it. It's decent. This is good. If you like Wingspan, check it out.
It adds birds. It adds, like...
dude, you
I'm
guys.
sorry. I'm a completionist. I like expansions. It adds more
Will
birds.
not rest until you have every bird.
Have you seen my Sims 4 collection? Anyway, like it wasn't. It was a very good expansion to the Wingspan game. You can just add the birds into it, so you do have more birds to choose from, which I know sounds silly, but I think it's a good thing. You're trying to build an environment for.
So, question: Is it an expansion for Wingspan?
Yep.
Or is it an entirely different game and you take the components over?
It can be both. You can.
It is.
That's,
it is
that's
both,
pretty versatile.
It is
That's
both
pretty cool.
an expansion for Wingspan-based game and its own standalone 2-player game.
I fucking love that.
That's really good. That's good.
It's cool. Like to
So-
succeed at doing both well
Yeah.
is difficult, and they've pulled it off.
Do I remember how to play it? No,
You can't remember how to replay any of these games.
because they're all in the bottom half.
Admittedly, we also played it and then went to a wedding.
Okay.
Beck's like,
Oh, was that in April?
No, this was in the previous
Beck,
studio.
Beck, it was your wedding. Like,
Hey Beck, you want to get married?
No.
No, it's Julia's wedding.
Oh, right. Okay.
Alright.
Anyway, I'm just gonna take my hat off. It's fucking falling apart apparently.
oh, bro, what are you doing?
A
bro?
game that I'm interested to see rate this high based on how you guys have all talked about how you dislike it.
Hidden Leaders.
No, not everyone dislikes that.
No, I don't.
Azul Master Chocolatier.
Oh.
See, I had to rate it relatively high in fairness because I haven't played a lot of this because I kind of joined.
You
in
were
on
given
this
the
club.
option to
I
rate
did.
things lower if you wanted to.
Hold
I know.
on. I want to say we were given the option after everyone had completed their lists.
Not before.
No, I hadn't done my list by that point, so
Jimmy
I
had
was.
done
No,
his
we've
list
done
by
that
that point.
I kind of lent with the I can't really rate against other things if I don't know.
Yeah.
So I kept it high because
Look, admittedly, Azul is a classic.
It's good.
Azul Chocolatier is a better version of Azul, but the art is worse. So, take it as you will, it's still a good game, and I hate Azul.
I stand by. I find it so hard to believe we're this far into Azul and there's no deluxe edition with boards that have gaps for the tiles.
You can buy those separately, but yes, it needs to be its own thing.
But you can't buy them from the people that make Azul, can you? There are people that on Etsy that like 3D print them or whatever.
You gotta remember, you have to buy the Chocolatier version to get the double-sided factories.
That's my problem.
You can't buy just an expansion for the base game to get that one feature that makes it better than
Yeah,
the
it's
base
no
game.
wingspan.
I don't think we've actually said what it adds to Azul. If you're thinking of checking it out, is the factory tiles that you take the tiles from have different variations on them. Some that move tiles from them to somewhere else. Some that leave tiles on them when you take them. Some that add extra tiles. Just additional ways to interact with everything at the table.
In fairness, I didn't actually hate the game. I rag on it because I got absolutely screwed in it, but it wasn't terrible.
Wait, that's Azul, mate.
I know. I'd play it with my family.
Yeah,
but
so
that's kind of where I leave it.
Azul is both a really simple intro game, and I think we'll be the last to say on it because otherwise I'll keep talking. Really simple intro game that anyone can pick up, presents new ideas and new options without being overwhelming. It's also a cutthroat, destructive two-player game, and I adore it at 2 players because you can just be like...
It's a love-hate relationship.
I don't play Azul with Tom.
Me and Jimmy are just feeling each other.
I'm entering the Azul Championships in January because I want to win a flight to play Azul in Portugal.
Yeah.
Do I get to come with you?
Only if you win.
I don't understand how it has that much depth.
Because you're wrong.
It doesn't
Anyway,
need to be an Azul championship as well.
Above Azul is a game that I couldn't justify putting it in my bottom 10, even though I wanted to. Because I think this game could be really great, but has the opposite of a catch-up mechanic, and is therefore a runaway leader problem. This was Gugong.
Okay.
Gugong had so many cool worker placement interactions, so many different things you could do in it that were really fun, lots of different choices for strategy. But if one person figured out the right strategy from the start, if they were the first or second player, they won. You couldn't catch up to them.
Yeah, I had a really bad time in Gugong. But I also had really good times in Gugong, and I think that's my biggest issue is that it's like, it fluctuates so much that it's like, you can have a good time and you can have a bad time, but you're never going to have a middle time.
Yeah.
There's never a middle time.
As a Euro game, that's a negative to me. That's why I put it as 11th bottom.
But, like, is that not, like, a good...
Yeah, but
description
it goes to
of
show, like, the luck element, I guess.
And that is a thing. I didn't play Gugong, but that example just stinks to me. Like, a good game is still fun even if you're losing. Like, if the game is like, well, I've lost from the second turn, now I have to play the rest of the game.
I was a rabbit
That
that got
doesn't
kept
sound-
out by that Great Wall, I tell you what. I was not... I couldn't get on the Great Wall space, and every time I did, I was only helping the people beat me to a pulp.
Why'd they build the Great Wall? Oh, to keep the rabbits out. That's a...
That's 10%. That's an Australian millennial.
That unlocks...
A rabbit-proof wall.
Isn't that a Telstra ad or something?
Yeah, it's a Telstra.
Fuck, they didn't bring ads like that back.
Remember ads were good.
Well, it's because people actually looked at them.
1300
Yeah.
655.
I don't know if you guys... Sean, you got anything to add to it?
I want to get it to the table some more so I can try and figure out where I would put it as well.
You just want to figure out the strategy so you can win.
No, it's just, like...
Dude, is that a Ridge Wallet?
Yes. It's not original.
Hashtag sponsored.
Yeah, so I want to get a few more plays where I can properly... Unlike Tom, I was like, the first time I played, I was like, yeah, it's not that great, but it has that potential as well.
It's the variable setup. If the variable setup leads to one particular strategy being best, someone runaway leaders. Because the way the game works is you have these little... one of the areas is premium currency you spend there, and it gives you either extra bonuses for going to certain places, or it gives you extra endgame scoring. And if one of those two things lines up, the first person to get both of them will win the game, because it makes going there more expensive for everyone else, which means you have to both waste more time going there while that other person is then getting more resources, and you can't catch up.
They're a bit crumbly.
Chris chimed in the
Sorry.
chat. So, Gugong was a great game for the winning players, but a struggle otherwise, I'll admit. I had a great game of Gugong, so I rated it fairly high because bias. Chris came in and creamed us on his
Yeah,
first.
it was Chris's second favorite game.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's because he absolutely destroyed us.
Yeah. Coming up next is a game that I think, if you pull it out with the right people, will be an absolute blast. This was a game that I did not think could have the theme hit that well and actually feel exactly how I feel doing this certain thing.
Oh.
Roll Camera is a cooperative filmmaking game, and it is a tile laying game where you place tiles that have lights and actors and other things and cameras. It feels like you're working in a film set, and then at the end, you get a film strip that you can make a story out of. It is awesome.
Roll Camera was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun with Roll
I want to pull it out with filmmaker
Yeah,
friends because
it was, and a lot of them us
make
that were out
films.
there who played it were like, oh man, this is hit us right in the memories of when we all went to uni and like did film.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that made it a lot more enjoyable because it's not going to hit for everyone because the theme probably won't work for a lot of people, but the game was still enjoyable regardless.
Yeah, I think it is an interesting one because all of us that played it either have film degrees or, like myself, have some exposure to film stuff, right? So I'm very curious to see how someone who has zero awareness of the film industry would, because it's still a solid little game, but I do think a good chunk of the enjoyment for us came from, oh, look, it's you know, that thing that happens.
And this isn't necessarily a negative comment. Some cooperative games have a quarterbacking problem where there is a right way to play and it turns the game more into a puzzle where you're working together to figure out the right way to make the best choice. This doesn't avoid that, but there is enough randomness that you can't be planning multiple turns ahead. It is a cooperative puzzle where you're figuring it all out. At the end of the day, it is one person's choice.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fully solve quarterbacking if you are someone who unfortunately has a play group where quarterbacking is an issue. But with the right group, don't point at me.
Get him!
Just because your quarterback got injured. Anyway. Above Roll Camera. Roll Camera also nominated for Best Cooperative Game. We will read that one out in a little bit. Above Roll Camera is a game that, as Rebecca has said, is better played online than it is in person. Because in person, Space takes about an hour to 2 hours to play, depending on the amount of players. I can finish a game of Space and Board Game Arena in 10 minutes, which is why I've played over 600 games of it.
Wow.
So, as with Space Base, it is an entirely card-based game, but it is card-based on a tableau. So the big points at Tom Pimon. So my first experience with Space Base was, I think, Tom telling me to play it, or me just noticing that Tom was playing so much of it that I was like, I might as well just check this out. I really like it. It is a little Machikoro-esque because you're basically building an engine that works with a dice roll and hopefully any dice roll.
And that's what makes it take so long, is you have to check every single card, every single dice roll, and then make decisions based on that. And then sometimes you have little energy pips that then will change those decisions and let you interact in weird ways. Difficult to manage in front of you. Still a really fun game to play, but so much quicker online.
I just disagree so strongly. Every time this gets brought up, in my opinion, it is correct. No board game is better played not as a board game. If I want to play a video game on the computer, I would play a video game. If I want to play a board game, I'll play a board game. I think you take all of the magic of the social aspect, the tactile aspect out of it. There's nothing. There's so little left. The computer is doing everything, all moving all the cards. Yeah, it's quicker, but I don't think it's better.
But
It's not making errors like you would if you were calculating it yourself.
Yeah, but like,
It eliminates those cheating
AKA
aspects
cheating.
more.
yeah, but cool. But then if I want to play a space game on the computer, I could play Homeworld, right? Because that has a bajillion different things that couldn't physically be done with cards, right? Whereas I feel like it's already been reduced to the mechanics and trimmed to work with cards, and then you're just digitizing that just makes it too.
You know, I don't know if I necessarily agree. Like, playing
That's
the
how
board
you-
game online, like, if you have friends that you want to play with, but, like, you live in different sides of the state.
Yeah, I mean that's
Like,
Wait,
that-
wait,
you jump
wait,
in
yeah,
just...
the fact that, and Tom wouldn't physically be able to play 600 games of it in person. because
No,
you'd
I'd
never
still be
get
playing.
600 people,
Yeah.
600 games happening, right? So I get that there is
I would
a
have
use
left
case,
Tom and I would have said no.
but
Because I'd be the only one he would be able to play with.
yeah, but the this game is better online. I personally think is
I mean, I don't think he's incorrect, considering that if the setup takes so long, which is the benefit of like tabletop sim and digital board games, is that you don't have to set up. Nemesis, for example, was a big issue of setup time. So
I think that sometimes a game can be less enjoyable for someone if they can't organize a board in such a way that works for them. Like
that's actually when we
For
tried to
ins-
play Arnak online.
yeah.
I think I was playing with you, Tom, someone else,
Maybe me.
was it board game arena?
possibly. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Board
we
Game
play
Arena.
a board game arena.
I suddenly couldn't play the game because I couldn't physically be like, I had this
Yeah,
kind of
you have to,
resources.
like-
This I couldn't. My brain and like I say, it's just my opinion. That is correct, but maybe it's just because of the way my brain works. But
I think-
for me, it's
I
just
think-
not fun.
I'm gonna my controversial response to you is okay, old man Kai.
Damn computers ruining my board games.
As I always say, you're entitled to your opinion, no matter how wrong you may be.
I just like in this case, I just really like it because it still feels like a board game to me when it's online. Like it,
Oh, I will
the,
say-
the meat of the game is still there.
I've played some really good board games online. Like, what's that
Is this
Ragnarok
shit on cards?
Viking game?
Oh, yeah.
Northgard?
No,
No.
it's a blood one. Blood Rage.
Blood Rage, yeah. Because Blood Rage is so hard to track down because it's out of print, but like the video game version
Yeah.
is so cool, and I fucking love that game. And if I do ever see a physical version of it, I'm going to pick it up.
Right, because physics was better. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Prove my point.
Wait, what? Oh, no!
Anyway, let's do another award.
I need my lawyer.
I reckon we'll talk about best art. Art is entirely subjective when it comes to a board game, but it is what's going to draw you in the first place. It is what's going to keep you interested, and sometimes it's just nice to look at. So, our nominees are Archaeos Society, Hidden Leaders, and Hollywood 1947.
And the winner is... Hollywood 1947.
Beautiful game, beautiful cards, lots of different cool components.
We actually have on set.
But the reason that it won is because it
according to
has
Tom.
the reason that we all put forward these beautiful movie posters that are just so fun.
Are we biased because we're a fan of films? Yes. Is this our internet web show where we get to make the decisions? Also,
We
yes.
make the rules.
Yeah.
And just, am I correct in thinking this game has transparent cards?
It does as well. So
God damn, I love a transparent card.
I love the smell of transparent cards in the morning.
Did you say this game plays up to 9 players?
up to
Yeah.
9 players.
For such a small box. And
That's
what you
huge.
get,
That's
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's always been Facade Games' thing is we want big.
Oh
things
wow,
that
I
we
haven't
can-
actually opened my copy and seen like all the new all the finished components.
That's very cool.
Was that a hammer and a sickle? That is a hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't mention it when we were talking about the game. It's a game about filmmaking and propaganda. One team is patriots, one team is communists. Make films to influence the world. Go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
I want to play it.
It's
You can-
very
you can
cool.
have fun.
Let's stop doing the stream now.
Wrap it up. Wrap
We'll
it
get
up.
9 people together for New Year's. Anyway, on to the next game.
Hold on.
We don't have room to put it down.
Yeah, hold on, Tom.
We gotta pack this up now.
You've made a mess, bro.
Classic.
That's
Tom,
what I'm here
we'll
for.
Pack it up later.
My favourite art game was Hollywood.
yeah.
Recent.
Where'd you just put the sleeve?
I don't want the sleeve.
I can't pick this one up. There we go. I got it.
It's fine. It's only a $50 card.
Oh,
Dude, you have no idea how tempting it was to just buy one modern booster for the Secret Santa and just buy it up and just be like, oh, that's the limit. One booster, fight.
Fair.
Hey, I want the magic booster.
I want the shiny cards.
Alrighty then. So above Space Base, this is Space Base is the halfway point of this. So these two are the halfway.
There you go. I don't
Anything
want to
from
wait that
above
high.
here, I reckon this is getting into the 7 out of 10 territory.
There's still a lot of games left.
Yeah.
Alright, does anyone want to take a guess? If I'm saying a solid 7 out of 10 game,
Ghost Castle.
That's
That was a
everything
lot.
from like
Ghost Castle we can just get rid of.
Yeah, I
Need
was
more,
like,
Tom.
I was like everything from
I know, just give me a random guess.
a solid
Mysterium Park.
7 out of 10.
June Arrakis.
Northgard.
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 Oh, wait, how good's Northgard? Number 1.
Planet Unknown.
Last message.
Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest.
Literally a game nobody guessed.
That's an 8 out of 10 game. First of all.
Outrage.
I was surprised to see it this low.
Yeah.
This
said 7 out of 10!
this is my favorite. I'm saying on the list general area. That's why I was setting it up because the game's better.
Oh, can
This
anyone
is
guess?
my favorite Stonemaier game.
Okay.
Ooh,
they-
that's an interesting statement, considering it's a reprint of a non-Stonemaier game.
Sorry, can you say that clearly?
I didn't quite hear that.
I was speaking to the microphone.
Yes, yeah, it's
Don't pan the camera.
It's a re-release of a game. I don't actually remember off the top of my head the original publisher. My copy's at home, so I can't even tell you offhand.
I'll look it up.
With a new art style and some slightly tweaked.
Jules is on my side.
I agree with Tom. Best my game. Well, you know what, Jules?
Well, no, I mean, I just think that's interesting considering that it's not original.
It's a reprint. I think the additions they made were awesome.
Yes.
I don't mind the art, but I agree the old art was better.
Yeah, so I think that this Winds of Galecrest is the better playing mechanically version of the game. It's probably the only version you can purchase now, but if you wanted to play Libertalia, this is the version that's best to play. I just love the original art style so much, which is like this gritty, ugly pirates doing a gritty, ugly pirate things. And then Winds of Galecrest is like
Whimsical.
it's like, look at the anthropomorphic aminals doing piracy, just like the Pirates of the Caribbean style piracy, where they never actually do piracy. I don't believe I don't believe that any of the Winds of Galecrest characters would do real piracy.
Do we want OG publishers or not really?
I'm curious.
Marabunta, Asmodee, and Asterion Press.
Okay. So, yeah, and that game was from, when was the original? 2012?
12?
Hold on. 2012.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Thanks for
hi.
coming.
Thanks for coming.
So another game republished 10 years later, but I do feel like the mechanical updates, I guess, were a little improvement. Sad
For those who are
art lost.
totally unfamiliar with Libertalia, it is a game where everyone gets given the same 5 starting cards,
Something like
and then
5.
each round you play 4 of those cards, and then you get dealt 4 new cards, which means depending on the choices you want to make, you can end up with cards that other people don't have in their hands because they've already played them. So it presents these really interesting choices
And it's a
as the game
sequencing
goes on.
game,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
programming. I really like Libertalia as both either version.
Well, I
Okay.
really like you, so.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Shucks.
Above Libertalia is a game that is up for nomination for Best Cooperative Game. It is up for nomination for Best Cooperative Game, even though we haven't seen its final version yet, because we checked out a Kickstarter preview of it. This is Aberration.
Game from the
that
future.
It's from the future. This is 2024 release.
2024!
Because we go on the Board Game Geek listing. This is a game, it's a pull from the bag to get your actions game. You are bag building, you are adding extra things in. Those tokens then let you, as you upgrade your character, you get more tokens. So you can choose what actions you want to take more, what bonuses you want to get, what items you want to get. Lots of really cool ways to play a really solid cooperative game, in my opinion.
I really
I
enjoyed it.
fucking loved this game. which
Fun
is
game.
why I backed it straight away.
And we did play it twice because, full disclosure, we played it wrong the first
Yeah,
time.
yep.
And we went, fun game, maybe a little too easy. And then we realised we did it wrong. Played it again, went, that's much harder.
We still won because we're awesome.
Yeah.
But
And also more fun. I really enjoyed Operation. I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah.
yeah, see it fully fledged
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and
And see how many
without
different
big spiky
scenarios
boys that
there
are going to
are.
kill people.
Yeah.
I will also say I'm very biased because I really like Ghostfire Gaming. They're like one of my favorite RPG people at the moment, and
Right.
like
You can like a developer, you can like a publisher.
Yeah.
A lot of people like Stone.
I've loved all the games that they've put out so far. This is my favorite Ghostfire.
Yeah, it's not the only game that we have on this list.
Yeah.
Do have to say we were sponsored to play that stream, so take any opinions we have with a pinch of salt. We try and be as open
We're
as
also
transparent
biased
as
as fuck.
possible. I think it's a really cool cooperative game worth checking out.
I do think that just because we mentioned the topic earlier, it is one that could fall victim to quarterbacking if you allow it to, just because generally all the actions are visible to everybody.
Yeah.
Like I can see what Reese's turn could be. So
Yeah.
in theory, I could say no, do this, do that.
Mhm.
You know, so
But
that is
it's similar to Roll Camera. There is that luck element where things don't work out.
yes,
Yeah.
You know?
yes,
You're,
that's
you're
true.
pulling from your bag, but also there are so many choices in that game. Like, you need to be an expert in it to remember what everyone can do
Yeah.
to actually be able to generate that perfect
Yeah.
choice. Like, it's
Yeah.
Very fun game.
It-
rather than go, here's the puzzle, it's all right, here's so many choices because it's basically an RPG.
Yeah.
So there is the best one, but also some good ones.
It actually felt like it replicated a tabletop version of the town is under siege. What does the party
Yeah,
do?
kind of.
Like,
Yeah.
In the form of a board game.
Yeah.
So
So in the total opposite direction from Aberration, instead of dark and grim dark and horror, we have bright and colourful and lots of different colours. Incredibly
Too many
easy
cooks.
to play game. Mantis.
Oh.
Oh. Remember Mantis, everyone?
I like Mantis.
I played so much Mantis at the convention.
Do you have Mantis as a introductory game? Like one of the best introductory
No,
games?
but that's just because it's
Idiots.
not new this year. We went with games that are new and available. Like new gateway game means it has to be new, not just relatively new. Mantis is an incredibly easy game. You have 3 colours that this card might be. You are trying to steal colours from other people or score colours that are in front of you. Go.
You can play it with young people, you can play it with old people, because the rule is whatever you're looking at is what you can try and guess. If you get it right, you get the thing. If you don't, you lose it, and that's it.
Yeah.
This game definitely would have been higher because 2 people put it in their top 5.
Wow.
I put it in my bottom 10 because I've played too much of this game and I've just seen everything that the
Old
game has
Man
to offer.
Tom!
Can you check where I put it as well, please? Because I don't think I put it that high.
TNP.
Let me double check. You put it 4th.
4? No way I put that game 4.
Because you played it so much at the convention, you're like,
Oh,
it's my favorite game!
And also probably because it's just so easy to get out. It was just like, you want to play a game?
Yeah.
Put.
I'm looking at the list. You put it 4th.
I got the receipts.
So
Yeah.
for context, Nerds of the West ran a couple of spaces at conventions this year. We're making it big, Mom. Look at us now. But one thing that we found is trying to get people to sit down and play a game. You're less likely to do it with the really big, heavy games.
Unless they come up and specifically ask for a game,
Unless,
let's go.
yeah, but we were selling board games.
What are
We
you
were
doing,
like, hey
Cass?
kids, you want to play board games?
Gary.
And when I tell you, people don't want to do that. We mean it. But it was a lot easier with games like Mantis. I'm trying to think of another one that we maybe had. Like King Domino's a good one for it. Too Many Cooks was really
Sorry,
good.
your son is about to
Child! Come on.
Yeah, you gotta collect him.
Yeah, look, Mantis I think is really good for what it is, and
It's still fun to play. I would still play it.
I mentally would.
I'm just not going to
compare
be the person to pull it out. to
Yeah,
play
I
it.
would mentally compare it to Exploding Kittens.
I would say it's my 4th best game.
Which is a surprise to you,
Yeah.
right?
It's a surprise to me, but it's good.
Yeah, I feel like I've played over Exploding Kittens. That's possibly because I've played Exploding Kittens 1 billion times, and you know, but it's just not heavy enough to be like. I don't think it was particularly high on my list because it's a
What
great,
about, like,
it's a good light intro game, but I don't like light intro games compared to.
What about like a
games.
pre-game game?
Oh yeah.
Pre-game
Same.
game,
Yeah.
perfectly
It's a
fine.
good
Warm-up
warm-up
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've probably played 20 games at the convention.
Yeah.
I played so many games. You can't even. Because A, it was good, and it was really easy to teach. So in terms of like, what are you going to pull out over other games? It was fun enough for me to go, let's jump into this.
Right.
Let's jump into this, and then we can do something else.
Every time I walk past Lachlan at the convention, he's playing another game of Mantis. So I'm like, he must love this game. This must be like
No,
his
it's
full
I really love that game, and I played also a lot of Exploding Kittens as well.
I
would
played a lot of
absolutely play it
Exploding
over Exploding Kittens.
You know,
Anyway.
I hated Exploding Kittens, but I could teach that without having to look at the rulebook, and I was like, damn it.
I was untrimmed at the Exploding Kittens, and the rules were different. They changed.
What are these
man.
rules?
Going from Mantis, which is probably one of the lightest weight games we have on the table,
Oh, yeah.
to a game that I was surprised to see was under a 3 on Board Game Geek for weight.
Okay.
June Arrakis Dawn of the Fremen
Wow.
is under it's a 2.8. Because I think the mechanics are fairly light. It's just the fact that you need to do so much maths
I
to
was
play
gonna
this
say that.
game.
It's mechanically not too bad. Math though, you gotta be
it's
get a Bradley's calculator out, everybody.
Is it like Power Grid level?
No,
maths?
it's worse.
It's
Imagine Risk, but with variable setup, and everyone gets to give opinions on setup. So the strategy starts from point 0, and then you all start placing out the areas you want to control. And then if you want to fight like you would in Risk and move your troops from one place into another, you not only have to do the maths on the point that you are moving into and the point you're moving in from, you have to do the maths and adding all the points that they control that are touching that point, and also you have the opportunity to send troops from other places. So it's, do I go here?
So it's not just you have 2 guys here, I have 3 here. It's right, you have 2, I have 3, but you have this many reinforcements from these zones. I have these zones that have reinforcements. There's cards that affect things. It's not just the map, because every move you have to sit there and work that out before you make a move. Then there's a whole layer of politics and social on top of that.
You know, I was just about to be like, how is this game this high? And then the moment you were like, there's politics, I was like,
And it was Billy, myself, Tom, and Sean that played.
the politicians.
There was so much politics going on in that game, and there is an aspect of that game that I love, and I haven't seen any other game do it, which is, if you agree on a different win condition, that's the new win condition.
It's not just win condition. It's any rule in the game.
You can- because-
if everybody at the table
Yeah.
agrees to change a rule, the rule
rules change.
changes.
Because you're all playing different clans, and so the clan heads come together and have like a council and be like, okay, look, this war's getting out of hand. Let's be honest. How about we just say that when, we can't do this anymore, you can do that. Like, you can change movement rules, like, instead of having...
You can make sandworms. The example it gives in the rulebook is you can make sandworms fly.
Bro,
Just quickly.
I was so checked out of this until you brought up the politics and the
Yeah.
this.
Changing rules.
I was
yeah.
like, I'm back
what
in.
we ended up doing,
I'm
because
in,
we
yeah.
had a commitment after the game, and it was a
We had to go to
long
Frost
game.
Town.
Ah.
It was
you
a
guys
long-
didn't finish it.
No.
That's what I was going to
No,
say.
we did, because we changed the rules. We came together and we said, okay, instead of playing through to whatever the original end goal was, which we knew was going to take like another hour and a half, we were like, right, whoever has the most...
I think we dropped it by 1 because
I can't remember.
you can form teams,
It was like a year
but
ago.
everyone has to agree on forming teams, which is usually you need to score a little bit better to as the team. You can't just have the normal win condition. So it ended up then in the politics situation of trying to decide which way the teams formed based on where the units were on the map. So I think Sean and I were in a team, and Kai and Billy were in a team.
But that took a lot of discussion, because originally I think Sean wanted to be on a team with me, and I was like, I don't know if you're bringing enough to the table, man. Like, I've got more features, like more bases than you do, so I don't know if this is really an alliance that I'm coming out on top. And then Tom was like, well, then I'll go with you, Sean. And I was like, well, okay, Billy, hey, let's see what you bring to the table.
Hey, let me see your business card.
it's so much, but it's good.
It's not a game you would bust out for a quick... Again, it's one of those ones where we're playing this game tonight, and it could be 4 hours. But it's the only... Like, there's so many war games, right? And, like, territory control games. We've got a few on the list, like Wolves and Northgard. This is the only one that felt like generals sitting around a table planning the war.
Negotiating.
It's unlike Risk. It's unlike anything else in that you are sitting there communicating with the other heads of these armies and having full-blown political discussions.
Sounds like
I
watching
love
the
the
movie
game.
would be faster than playing the book.
100%, yes. It wasn't in my top 5 or anything, I don't think, just because of the playtime, so it's not something I would bust out often.
It was Billy's number 1.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Text out.
That'd be fun though.
But
Sounds
I
fun.
absolutely would play it again. And you need to play it with the right people. It needs to be people that want
Yeah.
that political interaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're only sitting there to play it mathematically, you're not gonna. It's probably not a really fun game. It's a really fun game when you start getting into the politics and the alliances.
Yeah.
See,
and-
the reason why I know I wouldn't enjoy it is because this entire time you've been talking about it, I've just been thinking about what we were doing that day because it wasn't Frosttown. It was something else, and I can't figure out.
No,
what
we
it was.
were late for
probably
Frosttown.
out.
I was playing this while you were looking at houses to buy.
Yeah, no, this was not this year. It was last year
Yeah.
because Frosttown was on a Friday.
Yeah, this was last year.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're flip-flopping back and forth between heavy games and light games.
Because what would we prefer to play?
I adore this next game, and it has been some of my favorite gaming memories because this is a game that I think absolutely everybody has to play at some point in their life, and everyone has to play both sides of this, and it's a great game to introduce to people who haven't played anything like this in the past. Mysterium Park.
I love that everyone's trying to.
Everyone's like,
he's talking
"Oh,
about
it could be
this
this
one,
one,
that
that
one."
Who is this? Who's got Mysterium Park?
Here.
on there.
Oh, it's already on there.
Mysterium Park is a quicker version of Mysterium, a game where you are communicating with abstract art to communicate specific ideas.
So did you say quicker?
There's only 2 rounds. There's only 3 rounds, not 4.
Because goddamn, we take a long time.
We had the worst games ever.
The most
Okay.
tone-deaf psychics I've
Okay.
ever seen.
No, I think that was player count based, right?
That might have been our worst stream.
because that was.
Do you know how to fix that?
Oh.
No.
That's right.
the creative
Open the creative dashboard.
Gary.
Mysterium is awesome. I think everybody needs to play Mysterium once in their life. Everyone needs to have a turn playing as the ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, you've told me about this one.
Yeah.
Right.
Mysterium
no,
and
left.
Mysterium Park are both great. They're both really fun.
Down bottom left. No, you're already there. Yep. The one that says edit stream info with the pencil. Yep.
Just fixing some stuff.
We're definitely not playing Magic the Gathering right
Just chatting.
Just chatting.
now. Nah, just go board games. Anyway,
Otherwise,
Mysterium
people
Park
will expect
is...
us to be in bikinis and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not.
Oh, well.
That's what the just chatting category.
We're not in the bathtub.
Yeah, and then bring the chat back up.
No.
Pretty please.
Thanks, Beck.
Hey!
I adore Mysterium Park.
Thanks,
I have so
Morgan.
much fun playing that game.
Look, the one that we played on stream wasn't great, but I love Mysterium Park.
Man.
And I think we got by the number of players we had that we were struggling with the amount of crows and guesses and stuff.
You do get
But-
stuck sometimes, but it's still funny.
I do think Mysterium Park is probably because Mysterium Park is a lighter version of Mysterium. I do think that it's probably Mysterium Park is one that makes the most sense to have in your collection
Yeah.
because it is the same experience, but
Fucking
damn,
cat.
Gary is out of control today.
To feed him.
So yeah, I think it's the one
Catnip.
that makes the most sense to have, even though the original is very pretty and great in its own right. It's just such a big
The original drags on a little too long. This is and I was really torn at where I was going to put it on the list because I was always I'm sort of over Mysterium, and then you sort of put it towards the bottom, and then it creeps its way back up, and I was like, you know what? It is actually a really good game.
Did I rank Mysterium Park? I think I forgot that I've played it
No,
this
you,
year.
you put it there. Kai actually, out of everyone, ranked this the lowest.
Oh. That's because he fucking almost took my head off in that game.
I don't remember what you did, but it was fucking stupid.
so mad because I listened to these two idiots I was listening to the other people in my ear and I had the right answer.
I gave a clue to Lachlan, who shares a brain with me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I think it's this," and then everyone else talked him out of it. And I was like, "I gave you the clue, not them."
Don't you mean you guys share a brain cell? Like you don't share a
That's it.
brain.
Yeah. But then I then was the ghost and Kai fucked it. And I'm like, yeah.
My
How's it
experience.
feel?
My experience with this game was with non-board gamers. Tom was the ghost, and I basically had to be like, I know Tom. I've played board games with Tom. This is what he means. And sometimes I did get it wrong. I will admit that.
You don't know me.
But there were some times that I made some really good lateral steps that other people just couldn't see.
Yeah. I had one where it was like, I think Billy, and it was like shooting a target. And it was like, there was a circle, a frame, and like an explosion. And it was like, the weapon was a cannon or something. And I'm like, maybe it's a cannon. Like, and he was like, holy fuck. No one else saw it. Everyone's like, these colors all match.
It's just that kind of game. All right, moving up the list to our 16th favorite game. A game that was ranked higher last time we talked about it, but has dropped a little bit. Not because I think it's any worse, just because we've played a few favorite games. Also, Take That games drop a little bit as they go. This is the only Take That game that I will play these days. Fight the Blight is a Take That game that when you are out of the game, you aren't eliminated, you just can no longer win. You can come back into the game by killing the leader. It solves both Take That and Kingmaking. It makes them a fun mechanic. I love showing this game to people who are avid board gamers who hate Take That because they suddenly go, oh, it is actually fun to target.
Gary is gonna fuck up those cables something fierce.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Well, I can't control him.
He's your son.
He doesn't listen to me.
Thoughts on Fight the Blight?
Really good game.
Really enjoyed it.
Never get me
It
Exploding
is-
Kittens ever again.
Yeah.
I'll only play Fight the Blight.
Yeah.
It is a very fun game. I cannot believe it does not fit in its box.
That is because we've
We have
added
the
the
expansion.
expansions into the
I
box.
can't
I still
believe
play
they're
it.
stupid.
Lachlan nailed it, right? Fight the Blight should be the new Exploding Kittens.
Yeah.
Like that is,
Don't give me Exploding Kittens.
yeah. It's. I want to play Fight the Blight so much that I am at the point of Exploding Kittens where I'm like, I can't. I literally cannot.
And I love that you get like a character that has an ability as well for a
Yeah.
Take That. Like they're all individual. Like
Yeah,
just changes it up just that little bit more.
yeah.
Genuinely.
Um,
So good.
Also, another Ghostfire Gaming game.
We played it
So-
with the developers when we
We
went
did.
to Melbourne last year.
We did. It was
Oh,
fun.
nice.
It was good. Yeah.
I did not.
You missed out.
I did.
Ah, man.
I really need to get around
Tegan
to
proceeded to buy it after we played
Really
it.
get around to playing it.
Yeah.
Fight the Blight is incredible. It's got exactly the problem that it fixes the problem that Exploding Kitten has. Is like once you've been exploded, you're just not out of the game. Like Tom says, you're now vying with the other people to get back into the game so that you can win. And it's like there's a
It's
little bit of
also-
king making, but not too bad.
It's also just a little bit of left turn. It's a good zombie game.
Yeah.
Like it's a good infection style game that isn't you're trying to fight off the horde. It's like you're trying to avoid the infection. It's completely unavoidable. Like everyone's gonna get it at some point unless you're just a freak at game. But like
Tegan,
It's-
yeah, literally on the train after we left their office, so she bought the game.
but yeah, like I just think it's a really good zombie game compared to all of the other ones that are out there. Like it's fun. It gets you in the idea of it, and all the characters are based on people that you would find in like a zombie apocalypse style game anyway. So it's like
Wait, you can find mimics?
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I will say I do recommend it with the expansion.
Good game.
Like,
It has a lot of
100%.
replayability for sure.
The next game is definitely an old man Tom moment because I rank this as my 12th lowest game.
That
Okay.
means nothing. What is that?
But also an old man Tom moment because this is the oldest game we have on this list.
No, it's not Goosebumps.
You couldn't. You couldn't.
Yeah,
Old Man Tom is at it again.
Goosebumps Terror in the Graveyard.
So good.
Bro, this is one of my top games.
Isn't Nightmare older than that though?
Nightmare's not
It's
on
not
the
on
list.
the list.
It should be on the list.
Yeah.
No.
Where do I-
Goosebumps Terror in the Graveyard has a really, really cool moving board, which I would love to see done in a more engaging, better game.
Alright, best components, where's it at?
It's an old game. As far as an old game goes, where you're just rolling dice and moving, this one's pretty fun.
I think the real testament is the fact that multiple times we went, oh, you haven't played Goosebumps. All right, we're playing Goosebumps right now.
We did it on stream.
Right?
This was Beck's second favorite game.
Because what would I prefer to play?
Yeah.
We did not play Red Dragon in...
That was played much earlier, I'm afraid.
No.
And the other thing about this game is Terry's a bitch. And
Fuck Terry.
Actually, what I will say is I think, like, you're not wrong with the best components. This game was published in 1995, and its board still works.
Yep.
All of the bits still work. You can put it together, you can play it, you can have a fun time, and it still works as a game. And it is a nearly 30-year-old game.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's so good.
It is 28 years
If
old.
they reprint it, we'll be slapping our Nerds of the West approved sticker on that.
good.
The next game
Sounds
is
like
the
move on.
first game we have of someone who is here at the table. It's their number one game.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not good.
I'm the only one that put it as number one.
That is, I will say now, that is the issue. Both the other games, multiple people have put it as their number one, so it's... Lachlan, what do you love about Northgard?
Northgard is a complete package of area control, but it doesn't have the issue that other area controls have, where you lose all your guys. Instead, they just get pushed back out of the zone, so you still have your units. So even if you're losing the fight, you just get pushed back. There's a lot of vying for things, and the components are great. The art's great. I've not played the video game, but the game itself, I think we've all had a great time with it, and I enjoy it every time that we've played it.
Yeah.
And I love to pull it out just from my own. I just really enjoyed it.
So the video game is a 4X game, which is usually quite a long style of game. You've got to really set yourself up, explore, fight, do all the things. This is a 4X game that is simplified and quick, and that almost shouldn't work, but they made it work, and I really respect it for that.
Well, that was the selling point of the video game. It's a condensed 4X game. And it's also was like one of those games where it's a video game, but like it's more akin to a board game, which is how I first
Alright,
learned
don't
about
tell
it.
Kaya that.
So that's why that's why
This
I backed
is the
it
new Billy Hates Co-op games.
because
Finish your thought.
because I really liked the video game.
Yeah.
That's why I backed it. And I will say the first time I played it, I was really disappointed with it because I didn't have like a really good run with it, and I was like,
It does have some luck aspects to it, I think.
yeah, it is also the mode that I was introduced to it, where we had the monsters and
Yeah.
all of that. But then once I played the base game, where we didn't have the monsters and it was just you versus the other players, that's where I really enjoyed it.
I haven't played that version. I've
Yeah.
only played it with the monsters. Maybe that's why I
Yeah,
rate
because
it this time.
someone said like, oh, the monsters is better, and that's where I had less fun. But then we played.
It was Tom.
Yeah,
That's
we-
what-
I didn't want to out Tom too
We
much.
had
But
issue with both, right? I had fun with both, but then the monsters, we had a game where someone spawned near a monster and they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So that was just unfortunate
Yeah, 'cause-
at the start.
Oh, you go. I can't remember my thought.
I think I enjoyed both versions, but I agree. I think I enjoyed the version where it was just players more.
Yeah.
Man, are the
Because-
real monsters.
Yeah.
It was also a lot quicker.
Because
Yeah.
it then felt like, okay, I'm versing the other people at the table, not versing, is this monster gonna...
An NPC
Ruin-
element that is
like,
actually quite
ruin
random.
my- yeah. Ruin
Or
my
at least
run.
just doggedly targeting just the closest person to them.
Yeah.
yeah,
But just and don't you fucking came at me. If you're gonna sit at your computer and play Northgard for an hour, would you prefer to play the video game Northgard or the Northgard board game on your computer?
So the video game Northgard is different to the board game.
Yes, but which one would you prefer to play
On
your computer?
on my computer?
Yes.
The video game.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, you'd prefer to play Baldur's Gate 3, but that's...
Also true. Yeah. Bro, I have so many dating sims I need to finish before I even start playing any of these board games on the computer.
I've got some more to give you, by the way.
Oh, good.
Alrighty then. 13th, the unluckiest number. Our 13th favorite game for the year is a game that is in consideration because we played it with its expansions. This expansion came with 3 expansions, and each of them added new ways or adjusted the 3 main aspects of the game. Hidden Leaders, Forgotten Legends was also in consideration for best art. It is a gorgeous game with a very unique art style. We already gave that one out. That's why it's not there. It's a game of controlling a little area on a map with these 2 little tokens. Tug of war, thank you, between 4 different factions. Everyone is fighting for 2 different factions at the same time. I think it's a great game. I think it's exactly what I look for in an expansion. The fact that it is 3 different modules that you can add to enhance the different aspects of the game that you enjoy. I thought it was great. I'm very happy to see it rated this highly.
Yeah, considering that like our first couple of run-throughs with it was not super positive with people, and I would have to admit that I was one of those people that did not rate the game highly when I played the base game, and I actually loathed it. I came back and played it with the expansions, and
twisted your arm.
Loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic because I think it was more of the player base. So it scales depending on the number of players you have, and you need to have the right number of players for this game to work.
Yeah, it
5.
says it can play at 5 and 6 players. I would not play this game at 5 and 6 players.
Yeah.
This game is perfect at 4. Like, it is amazing at 4, and anything else is really average.
Yeah.
I just really liked that it was 2 factions you were vying for. So it meant that if one of your factions kind of got completely shut down, you weren't just resolved to just sitting there and going,
Well, that was the issue in the 6-player game, is if your 2 factions were out of it, the turn time was so long that the game would be over by the time it came back to you for you to have a chance to come back in.
Right.
4 players, there's options. You can play
Okay.
politics, you can move things and manipulate the board.
And it's also interesting to see that it's the only game I've ever seen do tug of war as the winning mechanic of pulling from one side to the
Pulling
other
these
side.
little tokens apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not you just pulling the tokens, it's someone else at the table as well. And you need to find that person that's helping you, and then find the other people who are not helping you, and figure out how you can get it to work. But that's just the base game. The expansion expands on each different mechanic. There's 3 expansions, and one gives you another faction, which is the Golem. The other one gives you abilities or cards so you can influence people, so it increases the player interaction. And then the 3rd expansion was Artifacts, which I think is the equipment.
yeah, the equipment stuff.
And I can't remember what the 3rd one did, but you could play them all together. Or you could
It was the one
separately.
that let you change gave you little tokens that let you change the factions of cards
Oh,
and gave you
yeah.
ways to interact with those to snipe cards away from people.
Yeah.
Oh, so equipment wasn't an expansion? I
No,
thought
it was. It was just the
No.
one that he meant as the
right.
second one.
I said equipments, which is artifacts or whatever. So you could play with 1, you could play with 2, you could play with 3, but it was really like, I like this core mechanic, I'll play with this expansion to expand on that. I really like this core mechanic, I'll expand on that. Because not only is it a tug of war, but you have to play cards in front of you, and there is player interaction. So you could choose which expansion best fit your play style and would manipulate it in a way. Because I didn't really like the artifacts because they were like a one-off, like do something against someone. And I was like, it's not really what this game is about. But everyone else really liked the artifacts because
I
they
don't
were
know if I
like,
did, actually. Like, I'm looking back on it, I'm like, I don't remember rating it that highly.
I really enjoyed it.
Anyway, let's move on to the only game on the list that everyone has played.
What?
Whoa.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks.
King Domino.
I haven't played too many cooks.
Oh.
Let me double check before I actually say this for sure.
Oh.
No, that's Do Not Play from Chris.
Goosebumps.
No, that's a bunch of Do Not Plays. Star Realms.
Oh, yeah.
Because we used to froth Star Realms.
You used to! You did!
I still froth Star Realms.
Still plays on his phone!
Star Realms is probably my favorite digital-based board game because it's the only way that you can play it quickly.
Hulk Hogan.
But it is also an awesome 2-player game to play just cards in front of you, lots of different expansions. Recently I had an awesome stream where we played just a bunch of different stuff. earlier this year.
With McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's.
Yeah. I remember that stream. Yeah.
This was in my top 5 and Jimmy's top 5. Let me double check that.
Yep, I do quite like Star Realms.
Hang on. Was this my lowest ranked game? He's checking.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I've played it. Would I play it over anything else? Fuck no.
I like how quick it is to set up.
Yeah.
And in that, and I know it's such a cop-out thing to say, but setup time, pack away time is such a huge contributor. And it's easy to play, easy to teach,
Yeah. Hard to master.
hard to master.
It's also a very good gift giving game because Tom was like, you used to give me magic cards. I'm fairly sure I used to give him Star Realms expansions.
Also true.
Yeah.
Dude,
For a while there.
Star Realms is good.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of like 2-player card games in like the board game space, but Star Realms definitely has enough there for it to warrant its spot.
Yeah, I feel like it's good. I don't think it ever was a game that I was like, this is amazing, this is great. But it's a good game.
For me, when I didn't want to spend money on magic cards, but I wanted the feel of drafting a game, it just hits that perfect spot for me.
Yeah, that's my thing is like when it's like I want to feel when I want to play cards but don't want to play Magic, or if I have someone that I want to play cards with and they don't play Magic, I bust that out and you
don't need to explain any kind of stack to them.
Yeah. Interesting comment here.
Simple how it works.
Star Wars, the deck building game, killed Star Realms for me.
Wow,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
That's brand new.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't support Disney in this house.
Well, with that one out of the way,
Okay.
I reckon we give out the award for best 2-player game. Because 2-player games are one that is incredibly hard to judge. This is, of the people that voted on these, the game that we recommended or thought was the best. We thought this was the game that brought the most to the table, brought new things to the table, gave interesting choices, and was just all around a good game, even if it was not the one that we would play most often. Kai, best 2-player game from Nerds of the West.
What were the nominees?
Star Realms, Imperium Classics.
I don't have to be new this year.
No, that's just for Gateway. 10 Wickets. And Sky Team, which isn't on the list, but was worth considering.
And the winner is Imperium Classics.
We talked about it at length earlier. This game is just so strategic and so deep. It was hard to pass up and say anything else was the better 2-player game that we played this year. Lachlan threw in Sky Team. Want to have a quick mention of Sky Team, even though we didn't get it to the table to rank
And
this
if
year?
we got it to the table, it was going to be up there. Like, I tell you what, that game, you know when you play a game for the first time, you're like, I didn't know board games could do this. It's that sort of game.
Oh, really?
We're just
Okay.
like, since when can this be a board game?
Take me
excited
back to
play
10
Sky
years
Team.
ago.
Yeah, like, you see a mechanic like Goosebumps,
Yeah.
and you go, hang on a second, hang on. Goosebumps would be the most relatable thing for it, because it's like, when you play Goosebumps, you're like, holy shit, the whole fucking board moves.
I like Mechanica, right?
Mechanica
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. It's like you see and you're like, I didn't know board games could be like this, but it do, and it's a 2-player game, and it's got so much replay value.
Yeah. Like, if for those that don't know what it is, it's a game where you play as a pilot and you have a co-pilot, and you roll dice, and then the numbers on the dice allow you to do certain actions. So you've got different things you need to do, like you need to keep the plane level, you need to get your flaps
Thrusters.
down. Yeah, you have to
You have to like radio
Fly.
to be like, get out of the way.
get planes out of the way. So it's simulating landing in the airport, and you can't talk with your co-pilot. So that's the crux of the game.
Oh, sorry, one of the mechanics is like Formula D, where if you're going too fast, you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
So-
you put numbers into there and it increases that thing, which is great, which is going to get you closer to landing.
Yeah.
But also, there might be planes in the way, so you really have to dial that back. But then you have to land, so you have to crank that up again.
Now, all that being said, like that's a lot to go in just the start. But then you finish your first
Oh, sorry.
test flight, like the first one to teach you the game, and then the game's like, hey, guess what? There's 20 different levels of missions that you can do that are landing in all different airports around the world. So it's like each one is up a notch, up a notch, up a notch in terms of difficulty. And then it's like, guess what? Now you have to deal with weather. Now you have to deal with losing fuel. Now you have to deal with this. It's just like, oh my god, it's throwing all these cool things at you.
That sounds
and you're
amazing.
just
That sounds
Yeah.
so dope.
It's
I really want to play it, and I have like a very small part of me that's like, yeah, airplanes. Airplanes.
Yeah.
So I'm actually pretty keen
Oh,
to
dude.
give that a
Oh,
go.
But that's a totally valid reason I want to play a game, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like birds with wingspan.
I look
Yeah.
forward to getting into
Right,
Australia.
it's like birds.
They're like steel birds.
Big metallic birds.
With engines.
Jet.
Alrighty then. Let me just double check this quickly. No, I can't make that call. That's fine. Next up is a game that we have spoken about a couple of times already. I think this is possibly one of the most consistently rated
Get it
games.
out of here. Get it out of there.
Up for consideration for best cooperative game, Too Many Cooks.
Hey.
Many
Oh,
cooks.
every time you're like, this is the game that everyone really enjoyed. Is it Too Many Cooks? This is the game that's really fun, lovable, and colourful. Is it Too Many Cooks?
Also could have been up for, we decided against it, but best new gateway game, because this is a game that's incredibly easy to teach. We've spoken about games that we taught at conventions. This game is awesome, and I'm normally not a fan necessarily of timed games. This is a game where you're on a clock, you are solving the puzzle, you can't talk to your teammates, you just move the things on the board and tell people if you're happy or unhappy with it. And it's so much fun.
Have you played Overcooked?
Yes.
Have you played Overcooked? Have you played Overcooked?
Yep.
Have you played Overcooked? It's that in
Yeah.
board game
Yeah.
form.
I've played Too Many Cooks.
What makes Too Many Cooks really satisfying for me, and it's similar to SkyTeam actually, is because of that lack of communication element. When people pick up what you're putting down, like without actually
Yeah.
saying it, it's great. You're like, yes, I'm happy, I'm pleased.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about it was that it scales at different player counts. Every single time, the first level, you're completing 7 objectives, the second 9, the third 11. You can play with more people, that just means you have a different number of public and private objectives. And that is so simple, but the game is always so satisfying because of it. You know that first level is going to be fairly easy, but it's going to get more difficult. I adore it.
The really cool thing as well is there are no objectives, public or private, that create an impossible scenario. So it is a
Mathematically 100% compatible game.
Jules is asking, have you played hard mode?
I've played hard mode. I haven't won hard mode, but I've played hard mode.
I think my
It was
only
hard.
my only issue with Too Many Cooks for me now is that it does have a bit of a exploding kittens feel for me. Like I just feel like I've played it so much that I don't know if I'll be able to get too much from it anymore. My favorite thing with this was just last year at PAX when I sat down to play it because we had a version of it, but I sat down with the person that developed the game to play it, and he was teaching me how to play. And I was like, oh yeah, we've managed to get our hands on a copy. And he was like, what the this game has been released. How do you
He
know
thought we stole it.
He thought it was a way to steal
Well, no,
the
that's
game.
because we stole the other game.
Yeah, we stole
And I was
another
like,
game. It's
oh,
fine.
no, sorry, we're friends with Steph. Like, she gave us a copy. It's cool, I'm part of Nerds of the West.
I'm not an asshole, I'm just a jerk. Like, it's-
So the thing about Too Many Cooks
Too
is
many cooks.
too many cooks can spoil the broth, but that's why you can make a stew. Yeah, that's all I had to add.
Beast Rebels of the Hell.
Beast
also-
Rebels of the Hell Game.
I can't
that's what's
not.
up.
I can't not with Too Many Cooks.
Alrighty then, this brings us into our top 10. Can we group all of those together and let's have a look, have a think, how are we feeling about these top 10 games? What have we got, Kai?
Oh, there's some good games except for one of them.
Yeah,
Is it June Imperium?
No, Kai
Imperium.
doesn't like King Domino.
I don't like King Domino.
Wow. Do we have 10 there?
So
One,
to
two,
quickly
three,
rattle them
four,
off, we've
five,
got
six,
Planet
7, 8,
Unknown,
9.
we've got Dune
Sorry.
Imperium,
What
with
else
all
is
the
this?
expansions.
Ghost Castle, #1, let's go.
We have King Domino, we have Ark Nova, we have
Oh, apparently
Unfathomable,
last message wasn't on the list.
I didn't think it was. That's why I took it off.
we have The Wolves, we have Archaeos Society, we have Spellbook, Aurum, and Last Message.
Hang on, we're currently missing a game.
hold on.
Wait, are we missing June?
No, June's there.
No.
No, but June.
It's an interesting spread. There's two quite difficult games. Two quite difficult games. There's some really simple games.
Couple of MIDI kind
Couple
of
of
games.
mids. I think
Couple of
it's pretty well
reskins.
spread.
I have to say, I'm not disappointed, but I am a little bit surprised that Aurum is in the top 10.
Forum was a very good game.
I'm not upset about that. I'm just a little bit surprised that it made it
I
to the top 10.
actually was very surprised with Aurum.
Yeah.
And I actually really had a good time playing it.
I'm real chuffed that my boy Unfathomable made it to the top 10.
I think you
I am
mean
surprised.
Deep Sea Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I am very surprised that got that high.
I was ready to have to try and defend its honor, but I'm quite happy now.
Are we going to do a rapid fire on these coming out? Or like, because I've got some things I want to say about a few of these games, but I don't know whether I have to say them now.
No, save them. This is the point where we can really dive in. So, at number 10, this was in two people's top 5s, but apparently not enough people played it. Kai's Baby Unfathomable.
Oh, it's great. Slips in.
I'll take top 10. I'll take top 10.
Now, that's what
It's
I want to
still
say.
two
I
digits.
wanted to add a note on this. I really want to play it. Like,
Yeah,
and
yes.
this just cements it for me as how much I want to play it. Like, if it's made it that
You play
high,
Battlestar Galactica.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Battlestar Galactica, but better.
I'm in.
Is it how much better though? Because I hate Battlestar Galactica.
It's better. I mean,
Better because of
it's
theme.
no, not just theme. It's because it takes all the good Battlestar Galactica expansion elements and builds them into the base game. So instead of having to play Battlestar Galactica with all these expansions, you don't have to do that. You just play. Oh,
Would you say this is the Viticulture Essential Edition of Battlestar Galactica?
no, I don't think so. Look, I love it. I personally love the theme because I'm a sucker for Lovecraft. That I'm not gonna lie. That is part of the reason why I bought it. But they don't print Battlestar Galactica anymore. So if you want that game, because it is literally, it's both Fantasy Flight. They lost the license to Battlestar Galactica, so they made one with the generic Lovecraft thing. If you want to play Battlestar Galactica, but you don't want to spend $900 on a copy off of eBay, Unfathomable.
But also, I feel like, as silly as it sounds, Lovecraft stuff is so much more accessible to
It is.
just regular Joe Schmo off the street than Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Like, Battlestar Galactica has that level of you need to know the show to
Mm.
kind of get the nuances between characters.
That's one of my biggest criticisms of Battlestar Galactica is that I'm like, this could just be space game. Or it could be any other theme and does not need to be Battlestar. And because
As
it's like-
proved with Unfathomable!
and
I think that's because of the time it came out. Like, Battlestar was such a popular show, and they knew it was a decent game. Like,
it's
it worked
a
at the
show I've
time.
never seen.
But it not only does it bring in bits of the expansions for Battlestar, it adds other things. One mechanic, which is just, it's just so cool and thematic, is that as you move the ship forward, the monsters fall back because the ship's moving past them, so they fall back in the ocean, and you can outpace them. Like, you can just sail, you full speed ahead and sail away from the monsters. Like, it's really solid.
I will say, did you see Spartacus, the TV show, before we play Spartacus?
Oh, yes, Focus Butt End.
But admittedly, though, I'm in the same notion of that could just be a gladiator slash Roman.
Yeah.
Which the reprint was.
Sort of.
I mean, and Spartacus
But it
is
wasn't-
a historical legend.
Yeah. Which is what the reprint kind of.
Anyway, we didn't play Spartacus this year. It's not on the list.
Damn, what a shame.
Next
We should
up,
play Spartacus.
number 9. These two were very close together. Just a few people rated these slightly differently, so the math ends up slightly better. The Wolves, another area control game. I, once again, want to see this game played at max player count because I think it'll be a better game because of it. This game can play up to 6 people, and 6 people fighting for that area control would be awesome.
Was Bree able to get in to play this game? Because I think this was the one that she was like, I need to play it, I need to play it, I need to play
She
it on stream.
adored this game, yeah. Really cool action selection mechanic.
Honestly,
Oh.
it was a good game. It surprised me.
Yeah.
And I really want to play it again. And after we finish it, but like, we need to play it with more people because it definitely was not what we were expecting for an area control.
Yeah, because
and the way that
rather
it
than
works.
like going, I'm in this area, I need to go to this area to do stuff. You have these 5 cards that are double-sided. You flip a certain number of cards to do certain actions, which means you need to set it up to get in that way to then activate in that area, which also means if you are a grass wolf, you're stronger in the grass area because you always have grass available to you.
And
So
I-
there's all these
And I
little
think
things.
that like we played with 4 players, but playing with 5 would be better because there's 5 regions. So therefore,
Everyone's got a
there
strength.
was one neutral ground where no one was king, and that was like a safe haven for everyone. But if we were playing a 5-player game, it'd be different. But not only that, you control packs where you've got 2 packs, or they could just be one amalgamation, and you could just go around the map. But then you wouldn't be able to deal with over here or deal with over there.
Mm.
And it kind of works where you like start moving them around, then you go, I'm coming over here to help my team.
And where like Iki and Gugong had so many different options, but it felt like you weren't rewarded unless you did the right one. This had lots of different options of ways for you to score, and because there was 3 rounds of scoring, you could go, I'm going to do a little bit of this at the start, see how this plays out, fight over this later, and it all added up in the end.
It came down to the wire of like some serious number crunching at the end to being like, how am I going to get in there? What is the best play? Do I go over here? Do I abandon it and go over here and wish me like luck? Or this other thing. And then someone else is going to capitalize on you leaving that area. So you're like kind of spread thin and trying to make the best scenario you can. But it was, I can't remember, I think Billy or someone might have won, but it was like an enjoyable game.
Like, I think it was
even
you,
for those
me,
who didn't.
Tom and
Billy.
Yeah.
Wait, did Billy?
And Billy. Because you and Billy were fighting at the top section.
It was
And-
Billy's second favourite game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. For me, I was in my head between the Wolves and Northgard because they're both area control games. Was a really tough.
Yeah. They bring their own stuff to the
decision.
table, but I would play the Wolves over Northgard personally.
I put Northgard above the Wolves, but not by much. But both really fun. I really enjoyed the Wolves. Like I say, the action selection mechanic very cool.
Let's quickly, while we're here, give out our award for best cooperative game.
I was going to say,
I'll
did
read
you want
that.
to do that at 5?
Nah, I got my opinions.
Okay. Here, I'll take it. Alright, fine.
I love putting my input in and get shot down straight
Yeah,
away.
I have my
Straight.
plans, mostly because there are things in the top 3 that matter.
Where's your
Um, Best cooperative game. The nominees are Too Many Cooks,
Too many cooks.
Mists over Carcassonne, Aberration, and Roll Camera.
Can you explain to me why Miss Over Carcassonne's on this list when we rated it so low?
Because it's a cooperative game, and it's one of the ones we played this year, and it's still a decent cooperative game for the right people. This is not about us and our choices of what we would personally play. This is us giving our professional opinion as reviewers. What is the best game they have played?
If you want to play Carcassonne but not competitively, I'd recommend it.
Anyway, the winner is Reese.
I've already seen it.
Too many cooks!
It had to be. We adore that game.
How many copies did we buy when we started?
So many. So many.
No, we
They had
didn't.
it that for an absolute bargain across the way.
Every day, yeah. I remember walking into a Games World with a bunch of people and just being like, Too Many Cooks is 20, that's a steal. That's a steal. And I think you were like, is it that good? And I'm like, yeah, man. And you're
Yeah,
like,
it was literally the
"All
booth
right."
across from us at the convention.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what booth it was.
Good Games Bowling.
Oh, it was Good Games.
Yeah.
And we were looking, I was like,
What?
oh,
Too Many Cooks
everyone's
for
ranting about Too Many Cooks. We did it for $20, which is like, I don't know, half price-ish. Like,
Yeah.
Is it really that good? Should I get it? Everyone's like, buy that. $20? Buy that game. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why haven't you bought it? Buy the game.
For that price, you could buy 2.
You could play that game with Sweet Baby Magnus.
I still haven't played it at all. It's still in shrink wrap. But
$20 well spent.
Alrighty then. Number 8. This one's going to be controversial, but also because we played it in a specific way that ranked it up for a lot of us. King Domino. A classic, in my opinion.
Oh,
How did you
Kai,
do-
do you want to jump in first before I explain why the rest of us love it
I
so
don't know.
much?
I haven't played it the way that you've played it. I've only played it as like single games, and for me, it's always I don't know. I don't feel like there's enough choice for it to be a strategy game. It's like if you're playing with 3 players, you have 3 tiles to choose from, and it's like if none of those 3 tiles work for you, sucks to be you. It's again to me, it's too much luck of the draw for what comes out. And if you're like, oh yes, that tile works for me, but I'm not picking first, it's gone. Okay, I'll pick one that sucks.
So I used to agree with you. I used to be exactly on your side for that. And then we played the marathon version, which is where you play with both of the extra difficulties, where you have to have a perfect 5x5 grid, and your castle has to be in the center of that grid. And you play 3 games back to back to back, and your winning score is your cumulative score of all 3 games, which means your choices are then so much more impactful, and you can't just risk it to win in that game and then be happy with it. You have to be considerate of, okay, if I lose this game by that much because I've made the wrong choice, I'm out of the running for the other games. And everything just became that much tighter.
I'll be honest,
and
that
that much.
sounds
It was just.
That's so much worse.
It was a tougher, better, more fun game, in my opinion, because of that.
It was so good. I had forgotten like obviously it was a Spiel des Jahres for the year 2016.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is this game so good? And I'm like, I've played it a handful of times. I don't remember. I'm like, oh, we're giving it a shot. We're bringing it back onto the thing. Is it on here? There it is.
It's with pictures, just to give you the year.
Yeah, 2017. And I was like, is it really that good? Because I remember it just being a good intro game or a good game that you'd whip out and you'd be like, this is fun. But I'm like, we've also come so far ahead of it. I can't say a bad thing about it. It's just so good, and the marathon game was so cutthroat and competitive for people who were like us, who are a bit more competitive than just your normal gaming group who are like, yeah, we'll play a game of King Domino and show it to my niece or like nephew or something. It's like if Tom pulls the exact tile that he needs and he's going for that, he's going for it, he's going to risk it, and it's going to happen. And he pulled it. And I swear to God, I almost flipped the table.
That doesn't sound good to me. It was like, oh, if Tom top decks and is lucky,
No.
he wins.
I set it up
good.
2 turns in advance to then be in the position to have that first choice. That's the level that you're getting
It
to.
was killer. It was absolutely killer.
I don't think I played the marathon version, but I played a few games of King Domino on. Because again, I don't think you lose the value of the game playing it online, and so I've played with like a bunch of like random different people. But the thing I just really like about it is, for me, it does feel like a puzzle, but it's not just like a regular jigsaw puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're trying to make a kingdom that is a perfect square that actually gets you points, and with your castle right in the middle. And
Oh, you forgot hate drafting.
like
That is a key ingredient in making it good.
What can get me the most points, as well as not leave something that can get someone else the most points?
But I
I
think,
just I just genuinely enjoy the game.
yeah, see, I only have played it once. I played it as marathon mode. You showed me how to do it. Wasn't a bad game.
Yep.
Can't say I hated it.
It's not a bad game. It's in our top 10.
Yeah. No, sorry, but I mean, like, it was a good time.
Yeah.
I'm happy to play it.
I fucking adored it. I was like, I know coming into it, a few of us on stream were just sort of like, oh yeah, we played it once, oh it's okay. And I'm like, nah man, it's good. I'm telling you, it's good. And then we sat down and we all just like, oh!
Oh, dude, it's you know what? It's like it was the best game of 2017 or something.
Yeah.
Alright then. The next game is one that I was sold on just on the tagline, or the way it was described to me, the single sentence. A trick-taking game where you don't follow suit.
Yeah.
This game, Aurum, should not work. But it does so well when you have to play your cards, choose how many that you're going to win with the cards that you have available to you, the ability to change your bid to then like go for more or less later on, to also bring a card back in that you might want to use to win. The fact that it's a variable ending based on whether or not people can play cards, that you can choose not to trigger that ending, or you can choose to trigger that ending, because the trump card is a different card that you win when you lose games, not a card that you always have in your hand. It's trick-taking games with just so much extra added. Great at 3 players, great at 4 players when you're playing with teams and you can't talk. If you have people who are fans of Yuka, 500, anything like that, y'all got to check out Aurum.
It's also just a nicely designed game as well.
Yeah, it's a nice little game. I was really surprised because I don't like trick-taking games. Generally, they're not. I don't dislike them, but saying this game is a trick-taking game does not sell me on a game. To be perfectly honest, when we walked into the studio to play Aurum, I was like, I'm not expecting to enjoy today. And then it was a really good game. It was a great game. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think it's because it is technically a trick-taking game, but such a departure from the standard trick-taking game, which all kind of feels samey. Because you don't follow suit, and because you do bid on yourself to win X number of hands, and so maybe you don't want to win it. Like, it just was enough extra stuff to make it feel like a different game.
And even trying to figure out how you can force someone else's hand and what you should be spending from your own hand throughout the game.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to get rid of all my low cards in that first round. And it's just like, why did I do that?
Yeah. And the whole alchemy theme with gold being your trump suit. It was just a really cool little game. Did enjoy.
Aurum is great. Have you tried Inside Job Trick Taker with a hidden trader?
It's on the list. It's on the list. Jules, I'll raise you one. Have you tried one of our favorite trick-taking games, Time Chase, which is trick-taking but with time travel mechanics?
You can go back in time and win tricks you lost.
We need to schedule this next year.
We still take it to PAX with us.
Oh,
It's so good.
all right. We'll keep an eye out for Inside Job. I need to play Time Chase. Chase.
All right.
Chase.
The next game is Chris's favorite game of the year. Unfortunately, Chris isn't here because he is unwell. But a lot of people did rate this highly, and it is in consideration for best new gateway game. Beck jumped on it. Spellbook, an awesome little game with 3 different levels of cards that you can then mix and match to make your own versions, your own perfect spellbook. The aim of the game is to either learn all your spells first, or to summon your familiar by choosing not to cast spells, but instead put all your resources into casting your familiar, or a little bit of both. This game's awesome. It's really accessible, it's really easy, but with so much depth.
Right, so fuck this off. Let's play it right now. Spellbook was amazing.
So much fun.
So much better than I thought it was going to be. And holy heck, do you feel like a wizard? Because you're a wizard, Harry. I swear to God. And the variability is like each round you can play with different spells. So like your purple spell is not the same as the previous game, and you can mix and match that with other games. So you've got like 5 different colors, which is your 5 different spells, or 6 different spells.
7.
Oh, 7, sorry. 7 spells. And they do different things. So you can be like, I'm going to work into this, which is going to help me do this, which is going to help
But
me
not
do
just that, but each of those 7 spells you can learn at
Different
3
levels.
different tiers. So you can spend, I think it's 2, 3, or 5
Yeah.
resources,
3,
something
4,
like
5.
that.
Yeah.
To learn that you can only learn the spell once, so you can either learn it at level 1, 2, or 3. So you either choose, do I learn it early to get a less powerful ability, but that I can use it from the start, or do I save up to learn it at a higher level
For
to
more
have
points.
the more points and the more powerful ability? There's just, and then you can mix and match the spells. There's so much variability, but the core of it is so simple. You can either draw random tokens from the bag or pick from a market, and the flow is just so good. And so early into the game, people are learning different spells, and the mechanics are suddenly going crazy.
I loved it the first time we played it. We're like, oh yeah, here you go. You get some spells that'll give you more resources.
Yeah.
But you trade your resources so you can do the things you want. And then the second game goes, fuck that shit. Here's resources going everywhere. You take resources, you get resources. You locked in for points. How about some random stuff? Let's go.
I love the synergy that some of the spells had. It was like, because they've got colors and symbols, and it was like, you know what? If you're drawing this particular symbol, you can draw more of them than usual. Oh, and then this other spell lets me use that symbol as wilds. And so you're building up this repertoire of spells that's just doing ridiculous stuff. You're just like, I get 1 token to learn a spell or something crazy.
My favorite thing was not realizing how quick the games go. Like in the first game, you're like, all right, I've played a game like this. I know what I need to do. And then by the time you're halfway through setting up the engine, you're like, oh wait, the game's almost... I need to finish the game. Like, like everyone else is close
There's
to
like 2 different ways to finish the game, and that is to get points onto your familiar, or by unlocking all your spells. And so you can just rush it and go, I want level 1 at each spell, but the spells give you better abilities. And then, not only that, when we mix and match the spells, the 2 different games that we did and are playing on stream for the day played completely different, because this spell allows you to upgrade other spells, whereas in the next game, no spell allowed you to do that. So you couldn't just upgrade
Choose your
from
way,
1 to 3.
And
you had
that's-
to really calculate how you were going to spend your resources.
And that's just how the base game, the base setups.
Yeah.
You then mix and match those so you can make your own setups the way you want to play, and it's just awesome.
Last cookie.
Okay.
That does take us to our top 5. And I will say the jump from 6 to 5 is quite big, and everything is a lot more higher. These are our absolute favorite games. And this is where, once again, we have someone at the table. This is their favorite game in 5th. Anyone want to take a guess out of the 5 we have left, which is Dune Imperium, Planet Unknown, Dune Imperium with any expansions, Ark Nova, and Archaeos
Was it
Society.
my favorite game?
I reckon it's Ark
I don't
Nova.
know.
I actually think it's going to be Dune Imperium base game
Dune Imperium.
because it's my vote, and I haven't played the expansions.
Ah.
And that is why we kept it separate,
Dude.
because not everyone has a chance. When we originally ranked this, we had Dune Imperium with each of the expansions, because over the past 2 years, we have played it that way, and they're all very different. We had to combine it a little bit just because we couldn't get everyone to play all the expansions, and some people have only played the base game, and it is quite a big jump. Get your main Dune Imperium thoughts out now, because the expansion conversation can happen later.
I'm never
Does
playing Dune
anyone
Imperium
want
again.
any drinks?
Yeah, so I have heard it's meant to just expand on the base game. I am stoked to play the full expansion setup.
Yep.
But the base game is still such a banger. And
It
I
is a
just think
banger.
it's such a great game. Like, even if I didn't have the expansion, even if I never did, I'd be happy to play regular.
Yeah, it is. It has everything I look for in a heavy game without being overly heavy and overly long. There is variability, there is card drafting, there is worker placement. It all feels cohesive. It's fun. There's politicking. There's combat. There's options to backstab people, move things around. Like, it's just, I love it. I love Dune Imperium.
For a game that has card drafting / market, combat, worker placement, it all works pretty damn well.
And it all fits the theme.
Yeah,
Perfectly.
100%.
Which is an interesting case because Reese doesn't like the theme, but loves the game.
Yes, I have been on the record on being like, because I don't like Dune.
Yeah.
I don't understand the hard-on that everyone has for
Yeah,
Dune.
sure.
I do not get it.
I'll clue you in. It's because it's fucking good.
But like, to me, it's at that point of Harry Potter. Whenever someone
Yeah.
mentions it, my eyes glaze over, and I'm like, I don't.
I like
But
the
the
game's
movie.
good.
I'm in the same place as you. They're like,
Yeah.
Dune, and I'm like, okay.
Like
Yeah.
Sean posted in our group chat the trailer for Dune 2, Electric Boogaloo, and I'm like, I didn't even click on it. I was like, I do not care.
I don't watch trailers, so I haven't watched
Oh, the
Yeah.
movie's gonna be 3 billion hours long.
See, that sounds
it should be
horrible.
3 billion and a half. And I'm like, I don't.
It's good, and
You know what I'm gonna be doing? Staring at the back of my eyelids while you're all watching
It's
Dune.
one of those things, though,
The
right?
game.
Where Dune is obviously in the resurgence at the moment, or like in the status quo.
The zeitgeist, if you
The
will.
zeitgeist,
Yeah.
that's the word I'm looking for. Because we had Dune Arrakis on here, we've got Dune Imperium on here as well, and we've played like Dune Betrayal and other fucking Dune games.
The 20 Dune games that came out in the last 2
and
years.
it's like they all have just come out because like it's having this resurgence.
Yeah.
And admittedly, the theme is good and I enjoy the theme, but I agree, I'm in that boat where I'm like, it doesn't have to be. And like, when Dune Imperium is based on the movie and it's like got the characters
Yeah.
on there, I'm like, it doesn't really need that. Like,
But yeah.
But
it's-
because the game is good,
the game.
and it has that, like that tips it over for some people. Like it makes it more accessible, and therefore the game sells better. I think the fact that the game is so good has kept it in the zeitgeist, because that was 3 years ago. Base game Dune Imperium came out, and they're still talking about it to the point that Mr. Beast won a Dune Imperium
Yeah.
tournament this year.
yeah,
I-
uprising,
I despise the theme, but I love the game
100%.
to the point where I bought the digital board game day one when it came out.
Apparently, it's a really good implementation.
I've heard it's
It
pretty
look
good.
the UI is a bit messy, but
So,
It's fine.
it's fine. It's fine as he loads his shotgun.
can someone else give me a lift home, please?
Mum, they're talking about digital board games.
But this is like the strongest game for a long time. Like, there's been other games that people have like really enjoyed, like Tiramisu Gaia Project, that sort of stuff. But Dune Imperium is like, it's gonna be around for a while. It's gonna be around for a long time.
I think I need to play it again. I think
We'll
I
play it
played
with expansions. We'll see how it goes.
I played it years ago, and I don't remember hating it, but I just haven't picked it up since then. I think it was a little bit too.
Spoiler alert: it's better with expansions.
It's way better.
So I remember playing it with Tegan, and Tegan doesn't like playing resource-based games with me.
That's the ad with you.
Yeah, with me. That's the funny
It's
thing.
just a
But
couples thing.
Really, you don't like playing board games. Period with Tom.
she plays it entirely differently because you do have the different choices on how you want to play. And if you don't like one mechanic, you can go another way. Like, it fits. It's good.
So,
I just want to add, Next to the Moon in chat just brought up a good point. Dune Imperium is number 7 on Board Game Geek. So a lot of people across the world agree it's an excellent game.
The game that is in 4th is a very interesting one because of all the games that are in this top 6-7 area. This is no one's favorite game. A lot of people enjoy this, but it is no one's favorite.
Okay.
Ark Nova is an awesome game.
It's not Sean's favorite?
That's
No.
No.
Sean's like,
It's close.
That's the problem. It's everyone's top game. It's just not their favorite game.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
There is
I
so
enjoyed
much
it.
going on in this game. This is another game that I've played a lot of on Board Game Arena. I absolutely love playing this game. Big setup, long time to play in person, but it's a game that feels awesome to play in person because you can see what everyone else is doing. You can talk through, fit this in the map here, get these cards here, but it's still cutthroat.
Yeah, I remember the worst decision someone ever made. It was me playing Ark Nova. It was me. I'm the one that made the stupid decision.
It was me. I did it.
It was New Year's last year, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to play Ark Nova?" Now, in the weeks leading up to it, Sean has done nothing but gone, "Oh, guys, Ark Nova's so good. We all need to play Ark Nova. Guys, you should play Ark Nova." So it gets brought to New Year's, and they're like, "Cool, let's play a game." I'm like, "Okay." And then more people start arriving, and people start socializing. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking play this anymore. And we were halfway through the game. We'd
It
been
is a
sitting
very
there for like
long
2
game.
hours. I was just like,
I thought you were about to mention the fact that we kept questioning how you were playing.
I
Because
forgot that because I didn't want to be playing. I wanted to be doing New Year's.
because you were playing so differently to everyone else that I thought we taught you the game wrong. And then Beck comes out from behind and goes, I have all these endgame scoring cards that say if I complete every area on my map, I get a bunch of points. And she rockets in to tie for first place. And
Was this
I'm
at
like,
your New Year's last year?
Yeah.
I remember that.
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
get
just
playing, yeah.
a
Probably
test,
not the best game to bring out at a party.
probably not.
We were just so
But
marked.
a
That's why
testament
I'm
to
the idiot. I should have said no.
a testament to the systems that the game has, that there are those different choices and different ways to play. I don't think many of you have played, or at least
I played it as a once.
the different maps. I think that just elevates the game so much more that everyone has slightly different powers, different maps, different ways to
I
place things.
just wish it weren't fucking ugly as sin. It is the worst looking board game on this list. It is so ugly. It's stock photos with a crappy filter thrown over the top. The game has sold 1 million copies. Please hire an artist and release it again with good art. It's
It's Uncanny Valley.
it's so
It's true.
bad to look at.
Sure.
Like,
Sure. I want your thoughts because you've been trying to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't notice.
And that's
like
a fair
you,
point. It's a fair
you
point.
were the standard bearer for this game
Yes.
all year.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
were holding the flag the
So-
entire time.
Yeah, so for the people in chat, people in the audience that are going, why didn't it? If I loved it so much, what beat it? And I think all of you guys know what beat it. So we'll get there.
Yeah.
But there's a reason.
I don't know.
Sorry, huh? There's a reason why, and it does have a mechanic that lets it down, which has been fixed in the expansion,
The
and
Marine
that
expansion?
is what put it in second for me.
Right.
So when you get to my first.
And when we
Yes.
get to playing the Marine expansion next year, because it is now in Australia and we can get it.
It's
The only
weird.
reason I didn't buy it is because I don't love Sean enough to buy it for him.
Wow.
Did it,
No, I just didn't have the money
did
to
it
buy
come
it
to
at the time.
Australia by plane or by boat, though?
Clearly by boat because it was marine. They just took it on the back of the whales.
Also,
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge that Jimmy just got murdered by Spamber in chat.
very, very savage when it comes to resource games.
But I think though the Marine expansion, which we've all been like itching for, because we're like Ark Nova is a really, really good game. There is just this one screeching, horrible
Yeah.
noise coming from
If
it,
you don't get the cards you need, you are done.
and it's this monstrosity of a deck
Yeah.
that has no place in the game. So good. And apparently they're fixing that in the Marine, so
Alright.
they'll iron that out, and they need to fix the art.
I still have not played Ark Nova. I think I might be the only person at this table that has
good.
not played
Alright,
Ark
well
Nova.
done.
Set her up.
It's such a
Chris
game.
also
It's-
hasn't
it's
played it,
just
so we'll
such
come
a
around to that.
long. Like you need to be ready
Yeah.
to sit down and think for 3 hours.
Yeah,
Like
see, that was my mistake.
Once again,
Wait,
only
power
takes an
grid.
hour.
Quick,
3 hours in person, 1 hour on Board Game Arena.
1 hour to set up.
Oh, it's good.
We ready to move on to the top 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yes.
All right. Now here's where things get interesting, because every single one of our top 3 games, Planet Unknown, Dune Imperium with expansions, and Archaeos Society, are people's favorite games. We also have a tie. It is the only tie on the entire list. We have everything else to like 0.8 decimal places. Second and third, 0.2 decimal places, an exact tie.
Wow.
So that means when I say what comes in second and third, we will also know what comes in first.
Would you want to announce first then?
I don't know. Do we want to
Nah.
announce first?
Nah, do
second.
first
Can
one.
we just do like third and then?
There,
Because there is no-
I know there's a tie.
There's
but,
a
like,
third on
is
the
there-
list. There's a
Wait,
third
no.
position.
there is a
on the
third on the list, and the only reason it is third on the list
Is that
is
special?
because no, it's not. I've specifically put it this way: third is one person's favorite game, while second is 2 people's favorite.
Okay, that's a fair enough
That's-
tiebreaker.
Yeah,
That's a
that's a tiebreaker.
tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good tiebreaker.
Who has more victory
Alright,
points?
what's the
Let's do it. So let's announce third.
Third, Planet Unknown.
Ooh.
Ah.
Okay, so I don't know if that tiebreaker is fair now.
Planet Unknown has been played by less people at the table. This is my favorite game. I adore this game and I wish for you all to play it. I was pushing for more of you to play it because I honestly thought this could be number 1 if more people played it. We will see how it goes next year. I have spoken at length about how I love that the options in this game are so simple, but they mean so much. I love the Lazy Susan. I love that aspect of giving people random tiles. I love there are extra ways to play the game with all the different mats, the event deck. It's just awesome. I am normally a heavier game. I will say that Dune Imperium and Dune Imperium with expansions were my 2 and 3. It's awesome. I love it. It's quick. It's awesome.
The thing about Planet Unknown is that I used to have a Lazy Susan. And we had to fire her for obvious reasons.
I knew a lazy Susan one.
So it was my second. There's 2 reasons why it got my second vote. Because Dune obviously got my first. But second, because they didn't really write an acronym for Susan. That was really lazy of them.
Also, the most misunderstood joke on the internet.
Absolutely. People don't get it. It's a lazy Susan. No shit.
It spins like a lazy Susan. That's the point.
But the other thing is I'd like to try the alternate sides too. It was a great game. Really enjoyable.
It was so good. Mine was still close to the top, even though I played it like last year at PAX. It was...
Yeah, you had it at 7.
Yeah. Just because, like, I hadn't played it recently. So it was probably one of the least fresh games there. But, like, it was still high, like, in my list.
Yeah, I think I put it second or third.
Third.
It's really solid. I'm not usually huge on tile placement games, but the extra mechanics of leveling up your resources and the way that they can combo into each other,
The objectives.
the objectives, it was a really cool blend of mechanics that worked really nicely together. I did enjoy.
Yeah, I really liked it straight out of the gate because Tom showed me it on Tabletop Sim. Because you played it. Where did you go?
We played it at PAX.
Yeah, that's right. And you came back and you went, Sean, you got to play this game.
Dude, he didn't stop. Sean talked about Ark Nova as much as fucking Tom talked about Ark Nova.
He did it at PAX. He's like, you have to come check
So-
out the board game barbecue place. Like, they've got this game there that's on a fucking spinning board.
Yeah, so we
I
sat
was
me
like,
down
alright.
and we played it online, and like the game broke on that.
Ah.
When we were trying to play it because the Lazy Susan and all the pieces went everywhere. And so we had to sort of like hodgepodge the last probably 30% of the game to get it to work. But I still had a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Even though it
Yeah.
broke. I was like, this is awesome. I
You
can't wait
put
to
it
play
third.
this.
Yeah, on the list.
And then we played it on stream, and again, great. But then since that, because you said it was on Board Game Arena, I've played a couple of games while I've been traveling. And what's been interesting is I've been playing against other players that are really good.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot off to an early lead. I've got my start down, I like to think, and I get a good couple of points on it. I'm like, sweet, I've got some space here. And then before I know it, they're beating me. And I'm like, wow, there is so much more that I need to unlock with this game. For something that is so simple, there is something going on here that I don't see that these guys know that they can just shoot ahead.
Yeah.
So that's why it's raised so high for me, because I'm someone who leans towards more complicated games, but this one's simple, but it does have that depth there.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance. Like, I think it'd be a good, maybe not gateway game, but a good stepping stone into more
harder
advanced
to-
stuff, because there is more to think about than a basic game. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
the actions you can take are fairly simple, but there is a fair bit of
It's-
brain power.
It's the first board game you get after your first year of board games.
Yeah.
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 I'm keen to see what the expansion does. So the game that tied with it was two people's favorite game and somebody's second favorite game. And the game that came in first, reminder, the two left are Dune Imperium and Archaeos Society. The game that came in first was two people's favorite game and two people's second favorite game. So that's what separated it.
Neither of those were.
Well, yours is over here, yeah.
Yeah.
So the game that came in second, and the one we will discuss now, and then the game that came in first, we will discuss after. The game that came second is Dune Imperium with expansion.
What the heck?
Everyone was expecting Dune Imperium to take top.
I was
wasn't-
worried. I was worried Dune
hoping.
Imperium.
All right, Dune Imperium. Go.
Dune Imperium expansions add so much to the game. This was why it was my second favorite behind Planet Unknown. Sean and Kai, you both put this as Dune Imperium with any expansion was your favorite game of the year.
Do you want to go?
Yep. Yep.
Good game.
Best game of the year.
Okay.
So I didn't play. I can't remember off the top of my head the most recent
Immortality.
expansion, Immortality. I didn't play. I did play it with
Rise of X.
Rise of X.
It's over here.
Which Rise of X. I love Dune Imperium. Then I played with Rise of X, and I was like, perfect game. And now there's another expansion that I really want to play. But Rise of X was brilliant because it took the one resource that was like undervalued in the game, which was money, and changed the way that you spend that. It replaced the part of the board where you spend money and changed the way that the value works and the benefits that you can get from it, which rebalanced things. And I was like, perfect worker placement game, perfect deck building game. Like, beautiful. Well, I love the theme, which certainly doesn't hurt, but if they re-released the game in 5 years' time because they lost the license to Dune, a la Unfathomable or something, and bundled the expansions together, I would still love it regardless of theme. I think that it's say number 7 on Board Game Geek or something at the moment for a reason. It is
Just the base game. The base game is number 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rise of X 100% makes it better. I wouldn't play it without Rise of X.
That's-
Having played it with Rise of X,
Yeah, I could take or leave Immortality. I enjoyed Immortality. I wouldn't have to play it. I definitely can't play without Rise of X.
I'm sorry. I scared you down.
I'm not a person who usually spends extra on deluxeified components for a board game.
Yeah.
I'll back a Kickstarter and get the deluxe version, but I won't go out and buy the extra. I went and bought the extra big box for Dune Imperium because it's just awesome. Having the bigger stuff on it looks cool. I love having little dudes to fight in that game. Like, everything about it just makes that game better. Sean, you did play Immortality. You loved Immortality.
Yes, I thought Immortality just brought so much more to the game. I just want to quickly say why Dune Imperium was my number 1 over Archaeos Society, even though Archaeos Society got number 1 on our board. It's because of these guys. It's a great game, but again, like I said just earlier, I tend to more heavier games, and Archaeos Society is that more simple game. So that's why Dune Imperium is all thumbs up for me. Now, quickly talking about Dune Imperium and a reason why I really like it. What happened?
I'm sorry, my
Gary.
cat just did the butt wiggle and did the laziest bounce on the ground.
Oh gosh. The reason why Arc Nova was below Dune Imperium, because you guys were saying that I didn't shut up about Arc Nova, is because Dune Imperium, with all expansions, I think it's the new Immortality expansion, gives you a token that each player has that they can use once per game to nuke the market road.
Yep.
Which is the downfall of Arc Nova. Again, there's too many cards, you can't get to what you need. Being able to nuke that row and get a new set of options opens up that game. And that's what sailed it to the top for me.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
So
That is
hopefully,
very clever.
going back to Arc Nova, hopefully the expansion, the Aquarius
Just
Marine
a
expansion,
big wave.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorts that out. Keen to see. But
Awesome.
Student Imperium, all expansions.
Awesome.
Good expansions. Great
Cool.
game. Archaeos Society. Technically a reprint. It is a re-implementation of
Yeah.
Ethnos. New art, new styles of things going on. Number 1 for both Beck and Reese, and number 2 for Kai
High
and
five.
Lachlan. And I believe number 5 for Sean.
Have we played Archaeos Society together yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe we haven't.
No, we haven't.
Why do you guys love this game?
Bro, Lachlan introduced me to this at one of the conventions because I think it was just like, it was slow, and Lachlan's like, fuck it, we're going to play Archaeos Society.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, no worries.
You need to say Archaeos Society.
Yeah, sorry, that was a miss. Yeah, Archaeos Society. And I'm like, okay, sure. I can't believe I have to play board games. And I fell in love with this game. This game is so good. It's, see, that's where, like, you guys being like, I love heavy games. Says, I love light to medium games. That's where, like,
this is a solid medium game.
Yeah,
I say light to medium. It's not like super heavy.
Yeah.
Which is where like Spellbook I think was a little bit more complicated, and Spellbook was really good. But this beat it out because you get 2 actions.
Yeah.
Both considerations for our gateway game, which we
Yeah.
will come to. The last award we have to offer. I will say Archaeos Society is a very simple card drafting game where you are then set collecting the cards. Each card has a different power and a different suit. So you want to go up on different suits to go up on different boards to score points.
Yeah.
But all the powers will also get you points, while also the larger collection you have will score you points.
Yeah.
But whenever you trade in and go, I have a set of 5 cards, you have to discard the rest of your cards in your hand, leaving them in the market for everyone else to get, so you can't necessarily hate draft. But also when the market is empty, then you start drawing 2 cards at a time from the deck, which is apparently the big change from Ethnos to Archaeos Society, which fast forwards the end of the game, because the end of the game is randomly triggered when 3 cards are drawn from the deck that are randomly put in the second half,
That
which makes every choice spicy.
That aspect puts a very big push your luck element into it, because you want those cards, and
Yeah.
you start grabbing them all to make up your perfect play, and then all of a sudden 2 monkeys come out and you're like, oh no. Oh, no.
The amount of games that I've played where it was like you're doing the 2-card draw and you're basically just like, if I get one more that just works for me. If I just get one more, I could just play something out and then we wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. But like just having that element to the table as well.
Yeah.
As well as having like different point tracks, because not only do like the sets you play out count for points, but then also if you say put out a set of like 3 cards, you then move up on like another scoring track, because it's not one game, it's 3 games. So it's like 3 rounds in one game that you play, which I didn't fully understand the first time I played it. So if you go back and watch the stream, I think I was really disappointed when the first game ended, because I was like, it's over already! Because apparently all of the monkeys were at the top of the second half.
Yeah.
And Tom just drew them all in one hit.
Yeah.
Also, the game's just beautiful. I really love the art
theme is
style.
amazing.
And the theme's amazing.
And variable setups all the way through. You have 12 different cards that you can choose, and then each board can be double-sided to add extra things.
You can
which
decide
means-
to play with different powers as well. You don't have to play with all of the powers. You can choose to play with some of them. If you want a different game, you can pick different ones.
It's so much replay value and so easy to teach, which is why, spoiler alert, our final award is Best New Gateway Game. The nominees were Spellbook, Archaeos Society, and Curses and Covens. Spoiler alert, as our number 1 game, Archaeos
Lachlan, what is
Society
it?
takes away the award. This is our number 1 game, and
Our best new gateway game.
Hey!
Archaeos Society.
we, as Nerds of the West, highly recommend you check out Archaeos Society. This full list is available for you to check out. Will be archived on our website, so you can see this ranking and in the future. And then we'll start a whole new board in 2024. We'll see if any games get replayed. We'll see if any new games take the spot. I will ask a very quick question. Yes or no for those who have played it. Archaeos Society, better than Guildmaster? Our number 1 game.
That's not a very quick question.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
We haven't
No.
played Guildmaster for 2 years.
Yes.
No.
No.
I wasn't ready for that question.
This is the Sophie's Choice of board games. Come back to me.
Never
Haven't played.
I
Haven't
never
played.
played.
I've come back to you. Look, the votes have already led no, but you're allowed to put
Archaeos
your opinion
Society
in.
is so much quicker and
Yes.
and far more friendly to a newer gamer. It is so different. It's such different games.
every time I'm like-
Guildmaster is so much heavier and so much more.
Every
It's
time
a-
I'm
it's a
like
crunchier
Archaeos
game.
Society,
Yeah.
I go, oh, but Guildmaster. Oh, but Archaeos Society. I'm gonna say Guildmaster. I'm sorry. Come on.
And then when Nerds of the West is 50 years old and we've been running for all that time, we'll re-rank all our number one games. That is our opinion on games for 2023. Thank you so much for joining us throughout this year. We got some cool stuff planned. This is the end of the video for those of you who are cutting it, or you can join us live in the future. We have a Lachlan. We have a Beck. We have a Sean.
Hey.
We have a Jimmy.
Hello.
A Kai.
Games.
A Reese.
Hello.
My name is Tom, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.